So it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're back with another episode of KJ's What Happened. Sometimes I laugh at myself because I know I'm so low key when I start these shows off. You know, I listen to other podcasts and a lot of podcasts. I love listening to podcasts, but a lot of these people really know how to sell it, you know, like right there in the beginning, high energy. I come in so opposite of that sometimes. So don't worry, I'm not on lithium. The heroin's not kicking in. Nothing like that. I'm just a pretty chill dude most of the time. My name's KJ. This is my show. And we're going to look back on some of the stranger things that happened this past week. Thanks again for being here. All kidding aside, though, I really appreciate it. We get a great audience around here. It's a lot of fun. Chat room's always really crazy. If you haven't had a chance to be here live and check out the chat room, give it a shot sometime. It's gets really wild in there. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool chat room. It's nice. You know, I've been on other chat shows in the past or podcasts. Sometimes I'll watch them live. All kinds of genres too. You know, but a lot of times it just gets real toxic, man, over there in the chat room. You know, it can. So around here, it's typically really cool. You know, so come check it out if you can. And if not, well, thanks for watching later after this is uploaded to my YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoy it. And if this is your first time here, buckle up, you know, slide on your seatbelt, pull on your thinking cap, and get prepared. It's going to get a little wild up in here. So let's go ahead and get started with lipstick in kindergarten, because why not, right? South Korea's K-beauty industry now aims for super young. YouTube just they just took down an old video of mine that was monetized years ago from I think in 2014 or something, but it's still up. They just took away monetization off that. They'll do that, you know, they'll go through all your videos, man, and I guess like 5 years ago, even these videos, and if they don't like something about it, they just take away the monetization. This happens all the time. Those of you who have YouTube channels know how this works, but they did it on one that was it was called Satanically Sexualized Kids, an Epidemic of Perversion. And that was one of a few I did this whole series on back in 2014 or so, I think it was, or 15, on an epidemic of. One was an epidemic of demonic possession. One was an epidemic of bestiality and cannibalism. And then there was the epidemic of perversion. So the other two have actually been blocked worldwide since. They're both on my website now under my banned videos list. This one luckily is still up, but they took down the monetization. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It was pretty hardcore. And again, this is back in 2014, covering a lot of subjects like this lipstick in kindergarten type thing. Because this has been going around. They've been really sexualizing the children for well over 5 years now. I mean, way back, 20, 30 years, you could even say. But I mean, more specifically, just in the last 5 years, there's been such a major increase that now we have like cross-dressing 11-year-olds and stuff like that. You know, there's a whole culture growing of children, you know, who are cross-dressing. Like that's where we're headed. Seoul, Seoul. Last year in kindergarten, Yang Hee-ji, I think I said that right, developed her morning routine. Uniform, check. Homework, check. Makeup, definitely. Makeup makes me look pretty, the 7-year-old said on her second visit to the Shuhu and Sassy Beauty Spa in Seoul. She was wrapped in a child-sized pink robe and wearing a bunny hairband. Her face was gently touched up with a puff. Her lips got a swipe of pink gloss. South Korea's cosmetics industry, known as K-beauty, has become an Asian powerhouse and global phenomenon for its rigorous step-by-step regimens. But exacting beauty norms also put enormous pressure on South Korean women, making the country one of the world's centers for plastic surgery. And increasingly, the beauty industry is looking at younger and younger girls. That is stirring concerns that touch on many core social debates in South Korea. How much a society should value appearance, whether messages about beauty crowd out other aspirations for young girls, and whether it's right to add even more pressure to an already stress-packed childhood of long school hours and make-or-break exams. The shiny cartoon heroines young girls admire are fully made up from head to toe, said Yoon Kim Ji, a professor at the Institute of Body and Culture at Seoul's Konkuk I like that, Konkuk University. As they put on the makeup and put on the dress to imitate the characters, girls internalize that a woman's success is closely associated with beauty. Advertisers are not subtle. I watch my mom and I follow her. I am growing up today. A billboard advertisement selling makeup kits for 6-year-olds proclaims, with a photo of a young girl in school uniform applying lipstick. Eesh. Do you guys let your 6 and 7-year-olds wear lipstick? Is that a thing now? The YouTube video of a 7-year-old putting on lipstick titled, "I Want to Wear Makeup Like Mom," has attracted 4.3 million views, while similar videos show young girls sharing their elementary school makeup routine and unboxing my Hello Kitty makeup kit. Shushu Cosmetics is a pioneer in K-Beauty's outreach to children. Started in 2013, it operates 19 boutiques across South Korea offering healthier cosmetics for kids, such as water-soluble nail polish and non-toxic lip crayons in a range of edible colors. Whoa. It doesn't seem appropriate for kids, right? Am I right? I don't know. Do you guys let your kids wear makeup? In the spa and beauty parlor, girls ages 4 to 10 can enjoy a spa experience for $25 to $35, featuring a foot bath, a foot and calf massage, a face mask and makeup, and a manicure and pedicure. The motto of our beauty spas is that children can connect with their moms while playing with them, said Grace Kim, a manager at Shushu Cosmetics. Our products are safe for pregnant women as well, she proclaims. This is hardly a trend that is exclusive to South Korea. Kylie Jenner has built a cosmetics empire worth an estimated $900 million, largely targeting teenage girls, while child beauty vloggers are also popular in the United States and elsewhere. For decades, academics of all stripes have pored over the impact of pressure on teenagers and young women in the West to conform with unreasonable standards for appearance and body type. But such concerns in South Korea also now include girls so young they can barely read the packaging on the beauty products aimed at the kindergartner crowd, or younger. South Korea is home to one of the world's top 10 beauty industries, worth in excess of $10 billion, with per capita cosmetics spending of $45 in 2017, higher than the $37 Americans spend and a global average of $21. All those numbers bore me, to be honest. K-beauty is also becoming popular in the United States. Last month, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shared her skincare routine inspired by K-beauty's elaborate multi-step skincare regimen. The kids' beauty market is expanding as makeup is promoted as a new play culture, said Lee Hwa-jun, an expert on South Korea's beauty industry at Mintel. Whatever that is. Cosmetic companies in South Korea are increasingly interested in children as potential new customers. That's not disturbing at all, is it? Cosmetic companies in South Korea are increasingly interested in children as potential new customers. So this really is, this is where the rainbow ends. This is where the rainbow ends. This and, like Desmond is amazing, and having the children being gender fluid, even in all this, it's that's at the end of the rainbow. I own you. Prominent psychiatrist accused of sexually exploiting patients. I remember this guy used to have a TV show. Maybe he still does. That's why I was interested in this, because I remember seeing him in the past. I always thought he was kind of the poor man's Dr. Phil, but that was me. But apparently, he's been a very, very bad doctor. Maybe. This is the era of Me Too as well. So a lot of truth is coming out about this, which is good. We should get these predators should get in trouble. But then there's a lot of, hanky-panky. Sometimes there's some lying going on out there. I'm just saying, don't get mad at me. It's true. So let's see what happens with this, the poor man's Dr. Phil, Dr. Keith Abloh. Prominent North Shore psychiatrist is facing lawsuits from 3 female patients who say he lured them into degrading sexual relationships, including beatings, conversations about bondage, and in one case, getting a tattoo of the doctor's initials to show his ownership of her, according to court documents. You know, that's not even funny at all on any level, but also it reminds me of that Nexium cult or whatever it was. I can't remember how they pronounced it. You know what I'm talking about. It recently got exposed. Had a girl on there from that TV show Smallville. Anyway, I can't remember all the details off the top of my head. But some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You probably please leave it in the chat or maybe in the comment section for people who may want to look into this. But the stuff has been coming out. There's like creepy, weird sexual cults in Hollywood, and they're being exposed. The women allege that Dr. Keith Ablow, an author who was a contributor to Fox News Network until 2017, abused his position while treating them for acute depression, leaving them unable to trust authority figures and plagued with feelings of shame and self-recrimination. He began to hit me when we engaged in sexual activities, wrote one plaintiff, a New York woman, in a sworn affidavit filed with her lawsuit. He would have me on my knees and begin to beat me with my hands, or with his hands on my boobs, she wrote, occasionally saying, "I own you," or "You are my slave." That is creeper stuff. Malpractice lawsuits, 2 of them filed on Thursday in Essex Superior Court and a third filed last year, paint a picture of a therapist who encouraged women to trust and rely on him, then coaxed them into humiliating sexual activities, often during treatment sessions for which they were charged. When the New York woman had trouble paying her therapy bills, she said, Ablow advised her to work as an escort or stripper because the work was lucrative. Wow, how about that? By the way, I forgot to thank my mods for being here. I saw Tamara and Effie here earlier. Some of the others may have joined. I'm never actually watching the chat as we go through the show. But ladies, thanks a lot for being here. As always, I appreciate it. Y'all always do a really good job, so thanks. So although the women used their real names in their lawsuits, the Globe is withholding their identities at their request. The Globe does not identify alleged victims of sexual abuse without their consent. However, 3 women who worked for Ablow agreed to file affidavits, including in the lawsuits, knowing their names might become public. They said in the sworn statements that Ablow sexually harassed them too. One former staffer, Amy Dixon, said she had sex with Ablow during which he would regularly hit her and that he told her he wanted a, quote, master-slave relationship. Sounds like Ablow wanted to be, I guess, the master in that, huh? Ablow's attorney, wow, I don't know if I can pronounce that. I'm going to try. A. Bernard Guekguizian. Actually, that does roll off the tongue nicely. Guekguizian. Guekguizian. I like that. Guekguizian. Be a good pet name. This is my puppy. Guekguizian. So Ablow's attorney, A. Bernard Guekguizian, fun word, said he had not yet reviewed the 2 new lawsuits, but said Dr. Ablow has been a respected and highly regarded psychiatrist who has for decades helped countless patients. He denies any and all allegations of improper behavior or substandard care in their entirety. Ablow had previously denied the allegations in one of the cases, the lawsuit filed last year by a Minnesota woman. The plaintiff in this case was a subject of a no trespassing order by me 2 years ago. Was ordered formally to stop harassing me, and her account is in collections for non-payment, he said in a statement to the Salem News last July. Excuse me, I take a drink. Okay. I had to wet my whistle. Do people still say that? Thursday, in a tweet, Ablow said he categorically, completely denies the allegations in the lawsuits. I look forward to the court proceedings and will continue to offer excellent care to any patient who needs my help. All right. Anyway, it's a long article. I don't want to read all the rest of it, but just wanted to kind of get that point there across. That all this stuff's coming out. It's fantastic. I mean, everything's being exposed, everything. And I like that a lot of these creeps are finally getting busted. Men and women, on both sides of it. Because on the other, well, there's epidemics happening all over the place with this. I mean, on the other side, you've got typically, very attractive female teachers screwing around with kids, screwing around with little boys and stuff. So this is a whole thing too. There's an epidemic of this kind of thing. And he wants to be the master slave relationship. And you got that. What's that dumb movie? They've had like 3 of them. Gosh, what is it called? You know what I'm talking about. It's about a guy that likes to beat up his girl, and she likes it, and he likes it, and they both dig it, and it's a master slave thing, I guess. And it's anyway. I guess I could look in chat and see what you guys are saying. You're probably screaming it at me right now. Let me take now. I'm just gonna move on to the next story here. Hold on a second. I have to know. I mean, I can't believe I can't think about this right. Let me see. Let me jump over here to the chat and just look real quick. Sorry. All right, so what is it, you guys? I'm over here in the chat. I've got to see what this is. It's the movie that's really famous. It's about the master-slave relationship. It's like a sexually perverted type relationship they have. Can't remember the name. I forgot. The chat's kind of behind me, so this could take a second, but I know you guys know which movie that is, okay? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get back to it. Sorry. Make sure everything's looking good. Okay, cool. All right, here's the next story. And just, leave the answer for me there. It's one of those things. I do this every week. It'll be right on the tip of my brain, and I can't quite put it out there. But that bondage stuff, like I said, it's all that stuff's on the rise, even in popularity, and we've seen that in these movies. It's like that master slave stuff. A lot of these, even the Illuminati type parties, like sex parties, putting on masks, and all this. Same thing. We're seeing a rise in that as well. We've seen those stories here throughout the last few weeks. You can actually order one of these weird masked sexual parties and have it, take place at your house or whatever, or go to some of them as well. And then you have the masked singer on there too, kind of exposing some of this, or exposing the public to these things that used to all be in the shadows. Animal attack. Press release. So this is just a press release. I kind of caught wind of this story on another website, so I wanted to come over here. And this is the actual Beaufort County Sheriff. This is their website. It's a press release. On Friday, February 15th, 2019, at 5:47 a.m., Beaufort County Sheriff's Communications received a 911 call about an animal attack on Indian Run Road in Pantego. Beaufort County EMS and paramedics arrived to find 77-year-old Brenda Hamilton of Pantego suffering from severe injuries as a result of the attack. Beaufort County Sheriff's investigators, along with North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission officers and biologists, responded to the scene. That's a lot of people. Responded to the scene to investigate what kind of animal attacked Hamilton. At this time, preliminary DNA testing facilitated by NC wildlife biologists has eliminated any wild animals indigenous to the area. So that was interesting. Beaufort County Sheriff's investigators are continuing to investigate to determine which, if any, domestic canines in the area may have attacked Hamilton. Anyway, I found this on a website that talks about Bigfoot and Chupacabra and some of that kind of stuff. And they post some of these press releases that'll come out before there's even a big news story. When people get attacked by animals that haven't been identified. So just thought I'd share that. Not saying it's a Bigfoot, not saying it's a Chupacabra or anything like that, but it is a mystery. We don't know exactly what attacked him. And those little stories always kind of keep me interested. You never know what they'll develop into, if anything, or if there'll even be a follow-up. A lot of times they won't even follow it up. Speaking of which, here's another one of those. Attack killing 6 llamas near Kentucky Zoo believed to be, quote, canine in nature. Canine in nature. Louisville llama farm owner Caroline Willett tells the Courier-Journal she awoke Monday morning to blood and tufts of wool spread around her property. 5 llamas were found dead with bite marks behind their ears and by their flanks, while a 6th was put down because of injuries. At least 2 other llamas were injured. She says the attack caused at least $10,000 in damage. Willett doesn't believe coyotes were responsible for the attack, as llamas are good at defending themselves, and one of the animals killed weighed 500 pounds. The farm is behind the Louisville Zoo, but zoo officials say they're unfamiliar with the attack. A veterinarian who examined the llamas told Wave it is unclear if they were attacked by a coyote, dog, or another large animal, so he has no clue. So again, just some of those kind of, to me, weird little mystery stories in your local news about animals being attacked by something they're not really sure of, like canine in nature. My imagination runs wild. I mean, there could be a basic explanation too. I'm just saying. To me, these are fun to consider. Man says he was attacked through window by 6-foot big cat in Cornwall. So now we actually have it identified, but this is still kind of a terrifying story. It growled deeper and louder than anything on Tarzan except the lion. It's definitely a wild cat. Not the actual wildcat's picture there, for the record. A man claims a panther-like animal attacked him through an open window. Matthew Wild, 30, says he was visiting his girlfriend when he saw the 6-foot feline banging against the frame. Wow, can you imagine that? 6-foot feline. A panther-like feline banging against the frame. He says he went to shut the door, but claims the cat suddenly reappeared and swiped at him. He said the animal looked like a domestic cat crossed with a panther, and fears the big cat may be breeding with local moggies in Porthleven, Cornwall. Matt said, it was very intent on getting in. It was trying to get through the window. I thought it had gone and went to shut the window, and it went to get me. It grabbed my hand through the window. I used to work with animals, and this thing was like nothing I'd ever seen. So see, these make me wonder what we're dealing with. You know, I used to work with animals, and this thing was like nothing I'd ever seen. It was worse than anything on telly. I'm going to save this one. It's a good one. It was worse than anything on telly. And I'm one of these people that do believe there's a proliferation of demonic spirits out there. I believe that veil is open and that we're seeing more and more spiritual warfare all around us in all kinds of ways, from politics to entertainment to our real lives. Countless examples of this kind of, this is something I cover all the time. So there's lots of examples. Other people cover these subjects as well, showing the truth of these things and the possibilities. It grabbed my hand through the window, so a panther-like creature grabbed his hand. It grabbed my hand through the window. I used to work with animals, and this thing was like nothing I'd ever seen. It was worse than anything on telly. Matt, a martial arts fan from Helston, Cornwall, said he was lucky to have very tough skin, else the cat. The media is they want to give a basic, right, an answer. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a cat. Would have drawn blood. He continued, if it was standing on the floor, it would be reaching about 6 feet. I would say it's a domestic cat crossed with a panther because of its tone, strength, and might. It growled deeper and louder than anything on Tarzan except the lion. It's definitely a wild cat. He says that it was a good thing he was there to protect his girlfriend, as if he hadn't been there and kept it from her, it would have eaten her. But despite this ordeal, which might have been terrifying for some, Matthew is not worried about future attacks. All right. Interesting, huh? I like those kind of stories. Oh yeah, this is pretty crazy. This is in Maui. I used to live in Maui. I was out there for 2 years. So I thought this was a real trip. A strong storm hitting Hawaii has knocked out power, brought down tree branches, flooded coastal roads, and even brought snow. Brought snow in Maui. So that's why I was interested in this one. And there's some footage here. While snow is not unheard of in Hawaii, officials said the blanket at Puli Puli Spring State Recreation Area on the island of Maui is likely the first for any state park. Oh, that's crazy. I definitely know that area. Puli Puli is located at an altitude of 6,200 feet, and the snow is possibly the lowest elevation sprinkling ever recorded in the state. I don't think I can watch the video, but we'll look at some of the pictures here. This is in Maui, Hawaii. There we go. That's the Maui I remember. There you go. Not a huge story. I know. Relax. Okay, calm down. There's some good stories coming, I promise. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought this was interesting. You know, the weather's just been going crazy anyway, hadn't it? All over the place. There you go, Maui. Snow in Maui. Gotta love it. Here's one that I just included in my most recent video, but in case you missed it, I thought it'd be important to throw it out there again. It's just another real sign of the times. And another reason why, I'm personally no big fan of, obviously, of religion, or especially organized religion, and all the, there's almost 30,000 denominations of the Christian religion in America, and it gets real murky, So, at the same time, everyone, I know there's good groups out there that meet up with each other. Perhaps they're even non-denominational type situations. People are getting into more home teaching stuff with friends and neighbors and whatever. And I like a lot of that kind of thing. But religion gets real slippery, don't it? And then you find stories like this. Liberal Lutheran pastor melts purity rings into vagina sculpture. If ever there wasn't a sign for, the rise of Mother Goddess worship and the ancient religions, the mystery religions and whatnot, purity rings in the vagina sculpture presents it to Gloria Steinem. That's, I guess, the, quote, liberal Lutheran pastor, the lady on the right there. Nadia Bowles-Weber unveiled a sculpture of vulva made entirely of old purity rings to protest evangelical purity culture, and presented it to the pro-abor, second-wave feminist Gloria Steinem. Good times, right? Good times. A lot going on there, right? A lot of layers I can see here in this whole situation. A lot of layers. It's the Jezebel spirit too, it's like the slut walk stuff and all this as well. They're trying to say that women are free when they sleep with lots of people, right? That this is freedom for a woman. That's freedom. And that's something that I forgot to include. I did a video recently talking about a television series called The Young Pope, and there's a whole part in there I totally forgot to put in the video, but it's important because in the very beginning, he has a dream sequence. He's the young pope, right? He's a young pope. And he has a dream sequence in the first episode where he tells all of his followers in Rome, they're all up there, down there in the streets looking up at him. He tells all of them to do the opposite of what we're really supposed to do, right? He's like, go get your abortions, sleep with who you want to, and all this other stuff. Just going crazy. And then at the end of it, he says, I've come to bring you freedom. I've come to free you. And that's the Antichrist. That's the that's the devil. That goes back to the whole idea behind Luciferianism anyway. And Lucifer is the light bringer. Lucifer wanted to enlighten humanity. He's the good guy in their eyes. And then our Father in heaven, The Most High, the Almighty, is the bad guy because he wanted to keep humanity in darkness. So that's at least their narrative, right? So anyway, but I see a lot of this too with it's freedom now for a woman in this new age. It's freedom for you to just, use your body, put it out there and take in as many people as you want, and, polyamory and just, the whole thing, right? No modesty. And I guess they tell themselves it's okay because all men are like that, and we certainly aren't. We're definitely portrayed that way in everything, pretty much, right? But anyway, a lot going on here with that story. A lot of layers. So there you go. There you go. These little mysteries as well, again from these local news type channels, stations, where I definitely believe we get more truth anyway, a lot of times from these little local channels than we do mainstream news, of course. It's all fake news, right? Candy makes at least 28 students sick at Atlanta area middle school. Let me take a drink. Hold on. More than 24 students were sent to the hospitals on Valentine's Day after ingesting snacks and candy at a middle school in Fulton County, Georgia. The Sandtown Middle School students were taken to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta campuses at Hughes, Spalding, and Eagleston and Grady Memorial Hospital. That's a really long name for a hospital. Hughes, Spalding, and Eagleston and Grady Memorial Hospital. That is exhausting. Hospital. After being evaluated by paramedics, Fulton County Schools spokeswoman Susan Romanek told AJC.com. Hurry up, get him in the car. Where are we going? We're going to Hughes, Spalding, and Eagleston and Grady Memorial Hospital. The district initially reported 21 students had been taken to hospitals, but the number grew to 28. By late Thursday afternoon, several students complained about feeling, quote, nauseated and disoriented, Cliff Jones, the district's chief academic officer, said in a statement. When students began reporting their symptoms, we partnered with local municipalities to immediately get them medical attention as quickly as possible. For the safety of all, students and staff were instructed not to eat anything given to them by another person and not to eat anything they didn't bring from their own home, he said. The district's police department is investigating the incident, but does not yet have a determination of what led to the students feeling ill. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta spokeswoman Jessica Pope said earlier that patients are now currently under observation by physicians. Epidemiologists, led by the Fulton County Board of Health, are looking into the incident. Food samples are being tested by the GBI. Spokeswoman Alicia Cardell Alston said the health board is trying to determine the cause of the sickness. She said officials should know more by Friday morning. Okay, anyway. Yeah, that scared me. Candy makes at least 28 students sick at Atlanta area middle school. And I haven't heard anything else. Have you? Have you heard anything else about this? And I find a lot of these. Sometimes there's a follow-up, but not always. And that's what is just, I did a video years ago as well called We Are the Experiments Now. And it was a series of news clips and stuff like that all put together. That may have been a banned one now too. If it is, it's on my website. And that was just showing times that we've been experimented on, the people, different times where the government has literally been caught. Lots of little stories like this too, kind of mystery stories, what's going on. But the ones I had in that video had follow-ups. It was crazy. It was some crazy stuff. So I'm always watching out for stories like this, especially that seem to lead nowhere. It's like they'll put the story out. It's like, okay, something obviously happened. Something huge just happened here. And incredibly dangerous. And it happened to kids. We need to know more about this, right? There needs to be an investigation. But to me, it's a huge story. A lot of these will pop out. and then you'll never hear anything again, or it'll just kind of lead nowhere, you know? It's amazing how often these, I guess, limousine liberal types, it's like they espouse like they're, you know, they put out that they're so for the people and never racist and blah blah blah, and we all know the narrative, and then they always get caught doing foolish stuff like this. Vogue Brazil director resigns over birthday photos evoking slavery. Fashion director of the Brazilian edition of Vogue has resigned after photos from her 50th birthday party drew criticism for evoking colonial depictions of slavery. And there's some of the pictures. Maybe we can. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, look at that. Wow. Whoa. She did that too. Look at that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, there you have it. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of these people, on the left, you know, in entertainment especially, always try to pretend, you know, that they're so pure. Would never do anything wicked like that, especially like with racism. But it always comes back. Almost always comes back to them. You know? Everything's being exposed and everything's coming out. It's good. It's good. This right here is not so good. Bizarre robot marriage hunting parties. Robot marriage hunting parties. Robot marriage hunting parties. Yeah. Bizarre robot marriage hunting parties. Let singletons flirt through robots. From what to wear to what to say, there are several stressful things to think about when it comes to a first date. But for singletons, I guess that's single people in Japan, the worry of speaking to a date is taken out of the equation thanks to robots. A firm in Japan is organizing robot marriage hunting parties where singletons can talk to each other through the medium of a robot. The first event was hosted by SIP Association last week, where 28 men and women took part. Ahead of the event, which was first reported by Japan News, participants completed questionnaires about their hobbies and interests. Based on their answers, the organizers came up with conversation material which was fed into miniature robots. The robots also made 3-minute introductions on behalf of the participants. While this might sound strange, it worked for several participants and 4 new couples were formed. Speaking to the Japan News, the executive director of SIP said robots can create opportunities even for people who aren't good at speaking and are proven to be an efficient method for marriage hunting. Robot marriage hunting parties. I'm going to a robot marriage hunting party. Would you like to go with me? This is another one of those big stories. I'm putting this into, I got a compilation video, but it's one of the stories. This was very interesting, this one. Eerie, quote, witch symbols found scratched into, quote, cave to hell near Sherwood Forest. Let's read. The eerie etchings were carved into the stone walls of Creswell Crags near Sherwood Forest. Whoa, Nottinghamshire, the supposed home of Robin Hood. That's really cool. Well, here's a picture. Let's see if we can make those a little bigger. So this is one of the hundreds of witches' marks found at Creswell Crag near Sherwood Forest. The walls and ceilings of the caves are covered in scrawls used to capture evil spirits rising from the underworld below. So this is sigil magic. This is ancient sigil magic too. The creepy discovery was made beneath these rocks in Nottinghamshire. Subterranea Britannica, which explores underground places, found the writings during a cave tour. Everything's coming out, right? Another example, literally coming out of the shadows, coming out of the darkness, being exposed. All this stuff. I think it's fantastic. All right, let's see here. I think that's pretty much the story, but experts believe the newly found symbols are the largest collection of its kind found anywhere in the UK. Witch marks are thought to have been made to ward off evil spirits rising up from the shadowy underworld beneath the caves. The chilling discovery was made by Ed Waters and Haley Clark from the Subterranea Britannica Society, which studies and investigates underground places across the country. They were carrying out a cave tour when they suddenly noticed the extremely rare markings on the wall. It is believed that the sheer amount of markings and the variance between them is unprecedented in Britain. John Charlesworth, who was leading the tour when the symbols were found, said these witches' marks were in plain sight all the time. Being present at the moment their true significance was revealed will stay with me forever. This remarkable place continues to give up its secrets. Some of the most common markings show the double V engravings, thought to be a reference to Mary, Virgin of Virgins. You've probably seen some things, or there's other angles on what the double V can mean too. You can look some of that up. A lot of people have covered that out there. Check that out. Markings showing PM also reference the Mother of Christ, meaning Pace Maria. Other figures are thought to be devices for trapping evil spirits, including mazes and boxes and diagonal lines. Experts say the marks appear to have been added over time and could indicate a desire to strengthen protection against the underworld. This may have been a response to evils such as death, unexpected sickness, or poor crops in the surrounding area. I guess that's it. Interesting though, huh? To me, there's another one of those stories with a lot of layers. I'll dig into that deeper in a future video here. Okay, I didn't even mean to have this open, but this is the main page to the sun. No symbolism there, right? But anyway, but still, it's got a story here. Let's see. It's talking about Slender Man. So it looks like this just happened. 1616, who did that, and then he killed Alicia McPhail 6, was obsessed with Evil, the Slender Man character. Stop that. 16-year-old was a serial killer in the making who got thrills from the meme, police say. Slender Man, remember the two girls? You're obsessed with Slender Man as well. He faces life in jail for murdering the child. A source said he's an utterly warped individual. Teenager got thrills from playing gory video games, and officers found evidence he searched online for Slender Man for abducting and killing Alicia McPhail. Very interesting. All right. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a bad story. It's sad, but it's an interesting story. It's evidence, more evidence of that kind of spirit that's out there, you know? And it's a danger. Can be. U.S. woman marries zombie child doll in intimate ceremony. Says they want to have kids now. Here's the doll. And there's the bride. And it's like every week it seems like someone's marrying something weird again. And it just keeps getting weirder. if you're new to the show, as I said, stick around. In times to come, the stories that will follow, a lot of times we find things that connect, find a lot of trends. We catch a lot of trends on here. And we've been noticing lately weird marriages. In a wedding straight out of Tim Burton's Worst Nightmare, a 20-year-old U.S. woman has married her zombie doll and wants to have kids with it. Felicity Cadleck married her doll Kelly Rossi, a zombie doll which Cadleck claims is 37 years old, in an intimate ceremony in Rhode Island, the Sun reported. The ceremony was attended by Cadleck's close friends and relatives, as well as a number of other zombie dolls owned by Cadleck. The doll had allegedly been a gift from Cadleck's father when she was a child, as she was a fan of zombie dolls and horror movies. The two grew close after her father's death a year ago. Cadleck told media outlets that she and the doll had consummated the marriage and said they were now hoping to have children. Cadleck reportedly told The Sun that the two would be considering various options, such as sperm donor. Right? We're living in the Idiocracy. Have you ever seen the Idiocracy movie? Idiocracy. Check it out sometime. It's happening now. The two lovebirds have even gotten each other's names tattooed on their arms. Perhaps getting the tattoo is a tad bit more painful for Cadleck than Rossi. Right? Because it's a doll. But hey, all's fair in love. The bizarre romance has been garnering mixed reactions on social media. Apart from the obvious creepiness of the quote union, people also objected to the fact that the doll looked like a child. Oh, yeah. Okay, there it is. Wow. Yeah. Yep. That does look like a zombie child or a zombie baby. Nothing is as inseparable as a woman and her tribe of polyamorous zombie children love doll spouses. There you go. There you go. That's the story. There they are. There's the zombie baby doll. We're living in a circus world. I didn't even know that Panera Bread had done this. It's pretty cool that they even tried. But did you guys know that Panera Bread is the name of a pretty popular kind of, I guess you could call it a restaurant. Yeah, it's kind of feels like a fast food place type to me too, but it's more or less like a bakery. Nice little, got some little sandwiches, soups, I think some salads, but then lots of bread type stuff and good coffee, and it's a thing in America. I don't know if it's in any of any of your other countries out there, you people listening from other places. But Panera Bread. So anyway, they have this Panera Cares, which I guess was a pay what you can afford situation. Let's read on, shall we? Boston, Panera Bread is closing the last of its experimental cafes that let customers pay what they wished. The company says its Panera Cares location in Boston will close Friday after 6 years. Panera says it's helping employees find jobs at other locations. They opened its first Panera Cares restaurant in Clayton, Missouri in 2010, and it later opened similar stores in Chicago, Dearborn, Michigan, Portland, Oregon, and Boston, all eventually closed. In a statement, Panera said the stores were no longer viable. A spokeswoman said the company wouldn't elaborate. The locations weren't as profitable as regular Panera cafes. In 2013, the company said Panera Cares stores made 70 to 80% of the revenue that traditional stores did. So, didn't work, right? It's too bad. It's a nice idea. I love it. It's great. Panera Bread is closing the last of its experimental cafes that let customers pay what they wished. Unfortunately, they forgot to consider mankind. That there's a lot of jerks out there. And there's a lot of people that'll just keep on taking and keep on taking. They never give. They just keep on taking, right? They keep on taking. We're not all like that. But then again, haven't we all been in situations where we could be? We've all struggled. I know you all have. Well, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing. I'm guessing you've all been through some struggles yourselves, especially financial, right? We've all gone through that. We've all been a bit desperate at times, I'm sure. So that's a good test of your character right there, huh? Think about that. Think about some times you were tested and tempted and you did the right thing. And then you compare that to how many times you didn't. Might be kind of painful to think back on some of those memories, huh? For all of us. Again, I definitely was made some bad choices throughout my life as well, you know. One of them was getting this cat named Chubbs. I can't believe I fell for that. Well, I thought he was so cute. He's going to be this great cat. Meanwhile, haha, just kidding. I love my Chubbs. He's free range tonight. He just hasn't really felt like talking. I have a can of his food hidden in my pocket. I haven't opened it. It's still closed. And maybe if he comes by, I was going to show it to him and see if he'll say hi to you guys. I know that's really fabricated, but at least I'm telling you the truth. Here's one for you. Drinking Diet Coke every day increases the risk of dying young from stroke and heart attack. I've known so many girls in my life, not so many. In fact, as far as guys, I was kind of addicted to Diet Coke for years myself, but I definitely knew a lot of women throughout the years just addicted to Diet Coke. They loved it. I'm sure you guys have friends, men and women, who've been addicted to Diet Coke, right? Or at least thought they were. But I was definitely in that category for many years. Long time ago, you know, but yeah. 2 or more artificially sweetened drinks a day ups the risk of stroke by 1/4 and heart disease by 1/3. New findings show. Wow, guys, that is, oh, think about that. Think about that. 2 or more artificially sweetened drinks a day. How many of y'all drink these every day? So 2 or more artificially sweetened drinks a day ups the risk of stroke by 1/4 and ups the risk of heart disease by 1/3. Think about that. And compared with people who never touch them, the risk of early death is 16% higher for diet drink guzzlers. Diet drinks are not harmless. Scientists warned their findings should serve as a warning to those on diets. Dr. Yasmin Rahmani, lead author of the study at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx, said many well-meaning people, especially those who are overweight or obese, drink low-calorie sweetened drinks to cut calories in their diet. Our research and other observational studies have shown that artificially sweetened beverages may not be harmless, and high consumption is associated with a higher risk of stroke and heart disease. Heart disease is where the blood vessels that supply the heart with blood marrow, I think they're supposed to be saying that, not narrow. Heart disease is where the blood vessels that supply the heart with blood marrow, right, increases the risk of a heart attack, angina, and stroke. A heart attack is where the artery is blocked, preventing blood from getting through, and an ischemic stroke is where a blood vessel in the brain becomes blocked in a similar way. Obese women at even greater risk. The new findings are based on a big study of women and show some groups are at an even greater risk, with those drinking 2 or more diet drinks a day who are also obese having more than double the stroke risk. And African American women also had a higher risk of stroke. Dr. Rahmani did stress while her findings suggest a link, they couldn't prove diet drinks cause stroke and heart problems. She said the study had not looked at individual artificial sweeteners. Okay. More research needed. All right, cool. Be careful with these diet drinks. Some of y'all know I had a heart attack about, I guess, almost 6 months ago or so now, somewhere around there. And I've changed a lot of things in my life. One thing is I wouldn't diet drinks, but I was drinking a lot of caffeinated. I was drinking unsweet iced tea constantly, and then oftentimes sweetening it with that fake sweetener, which isn't any better. Or stevia, I'd use that, but still. But now I always have a jug of water with me everywhere at my place. I've always got a jug of water. That's what I do. Just try to stay hydrated. That's another thing. So many of us don't stay hydrated, man. And think of all the energy drinks you drink. And then if you're drinking alcohol at night or just even during the day, whatever. But, if you're adding that on top of that and doing energy drinks and not drinking enough water, man, that leads to tons of heart and health issues as well. So, we got to stay hydrated at all times, so that's what I try to do is always be taking water in, keeping water around. I've considered hooking myself up to a water IV 24/7, but then I thought that people might think that's weird, so I'm not going to do it. Sex bots could crush human limbs and spy on you for the government as fears grow over rogue robot lovers. Ah, the sun. It always makes me laugh, this this one. But, they do report on some real things, just really wacky, wonky kind of situations and things, right? But which is why we love them sometimes. From the Drudge Report to the New York Times, sex robots are rapidly becoming a part of the global conversation about the future of sex and relationships. Behind the headlines, a number of companies are currently developing robots designed to provide humans with companionship and sexual pleasure, with a few already on the market. Unlike sex toys and dolls, which are typically sold in off-the-radar shops and hidden in closets, sex bots may become mainstream. A 2017 survey suggested almost half of Americans think that having sex with robots will become a common practice within 50 years. As a scholar of artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and the law, I'm interested in the legal and policy questions that sex robots pose. How do we ensure they are safe? How will intimacy with a sex robot affect the human brain? Would sex with a childlike robot be ethical? And what exactly is a sex bot anyway? Now, personally, for me, none of this. I'm not going to have to worry about this. I'm definitely not one of those people who's going to be getting me a sex robot. I always wonder what the market is for these things. I always doubt that. It's like, oh, we'll show you. Humanity is going to show you. No one's going to turn out for this. But then you're almost always let down. Because the people do turn out for this stuff, and there's just people out there, man, that are it's just crazy. It's just massive perversion. I mean, people marrying their zombie dolls and people, penetrating dolls. And it's just, I don't know. The primary conundrum is how to distinguish between a sex robot and a, quote, sexy robot. Just because a robot is attractive to a human and can provide sexual gratification, does it deserve the label sex robot? Anyway, I don't care about that conversation. But look how, is that a robot? Mark 1's eyes include face and color. Yeah, that's a robot. Look how real that looks. Like crazy. Mark 1, so that they call this Mark 1, right? That can't be. Okay. Eek. Sorry. Whoa. Trying to go by fast. I don't want to show too much of that. Anyway, I'm not going to be doing this. So there's a true story here. I think it's in Houston, Texas. And this was from a few months back. Just a couple months ago, it was a story. I'm trying to pause this here. I don't want to. All right, we got it paused. So a few months back, in Houston, Texas, they were talking about they're going to open up 6 or 7 sex robot brothels in America. And apparently Houston, Texas is one of the locations. I haven't followed up on this. I haven't seen anything through all the feeds I go through every week to bring you this show and even make my videos. I usually find these kind of stories, but I haven't really seen any follow up on that. But if they actually did that, I was considering, true story. No, no, not, banging a robot, but I was actually going to go down there. I'll drive, I'll do the road trip and go into one of those things. And I would like, I guess you can get away with that. I don't know, film on the inside and just, I think it'd be a trip. I think it'd be kind of funny too. But then, no, I haven't heard anything else about it, but I think it'd be interesting to do that. Wouldn't you guys want to see that? Wouldn't that be interesting to go inside one of these sex robot brothels, go into a room, obviously don't penetrate the dolls, right? But just film inside of there and just kind of show, like in a room, of what it looks like and whatever, I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting kind of expose, right? We'll see. We'll see. Do you guys hear anything else about that? Let us know in the chat or in the comments if you've heard about them. A lot of these communities hopefully will stand up and not even allow them to put these things in. And maybe that's what's happening in Texas. I thought this was interesting here, kind of a freaky way. With smart sneakers, privacy risks take a great leap. Check this out. It's even in your shoes now. It's just amazing how much they're trying to connect us, with smart homes and smart devices and smart cars. And now it's smart sneakers. Here's your smart sneakers. I'm dribbling a basketball in one hand with a phone in the other, adjusting the tightness on a pair of Nike's Bluetooth-connected, self-tying Adapt BB sneakers on my feet. Futuristic shoes, which go on sale for $350 on February 17th, alternate between boa constrictor tight and comfy slipper loose as I toggle through the app like a child flicking a light switch for the first time. Goofing around, I try to grab my colleague's phone so I can suffocate him via sneakers as we run around the basketball court at Nike's headquarters in New York. All of a sudden, he isn't trying to just play defense in basketball. He has to guard his phone, too. Athletic apparel companies like Nike, Under Armour, and Puma may find themselves similarly on the defensive as they lead the charge to infuse technology into their sneakers. After all, the smarter the object, the more likely it is to be hacked. It's a worrisome trend that industries are dealing with as they try to find the balance between adding convenience and protecting your privacy. I just saw a flash of a really cheesy B-horror movie they'll do, I'm sure, in the future, where people are wearing these kinds of shoes. And then, of course, somehow it gets hacked. And then somebody makes the shoes go so tight, they just go, it's like pop, right? Just like bloody explosion all over the place. And I don't know if they'd make that movie. I'm just saying I could see that like being a possibility. All right, forgive me. I'll continue. Being aware of the potential security risks is even more critical for fitness apps, considering that people are more likely to share sensitive information like location, running routes, and health routines. Fitness tracker Strava's global heat map had a privacy fiasco a year ago when it was revealing exercise routes around secret U.S. military positions. Wow. Fitness tracker Strava's global heat map had a privacy fiasco a year ago when it was revealing exercise routes around secret U.S. military positions. That's crazy. These manufacturers are going to be subject to the same issues that our social networks are now under the microscope of, said Brian Cleary, VP of Redpoint Global. And while people will be buying smart sneakers for tech features like self-tying laces, the future is in the apps, Nike execs say. In the future, the app will be that bridge to the powered athlete. Once you put a device online, you're introducing a new opportunity for attacks, whether it's a Nest camera blaring alarms on your smart TV, whatever. Nike's Adapt BBs aren't even the first pair of smart shoes. Under Armour has been making connected kicks for a while now. It's on its fourth generation with its Hover, H-O-V-R line, with an embedded chip. How neat. With an embedded chip that tracks your footsteps and running pace. I do see the benefit of some of these things. Don't get me wrong. I get that, but also just lulling, I feel, for years now, just getting us used to being chipped is the ultimate, right? But Puma also entered the self-tying shoe world. Who cares? There you go. With smart sneakers, privacy risks take a great leap. Everything's getting connected, making us all get even more disconnected from each other at the same time, right? But everything's getting connected. And pulled into that black mirror, getting pulled in to that other dimension. Computers, TV screens, computer screens. Planned P-hood kept babies alive in order to harvest brain and heart. In an undercover video, a former technician for a tissue harvesting company details how an aborted baby was kept alive so that its heart could be harvested at a California PP facility, raising more legal questions about the group's practices. Holly O'Donnell, a former blood and tissue procurement technician for the biotech startup STEM Express, also said she was asked to harvest an intact brain from the late-term male fetus whose heart was still beating after the you-know-what. A STEM Express supervisor gave me the scissors and told me that I had to cut down the middle of the face. And I can't even describe what that feels like, said Miss O'Donnell, who has been featured in earlier videos by the Center for Medical Progress, a pro-life group. David Dalyden, the video project leader, said the undercover footage and interviews shows the fetuses are sometimes delivered intact and alive before their organs are harvested. Okay. The Federal Born Alive Infants Protection Act of 2002 says that when a child is born alive, including having a beating heart, he or she is a legal person and has a right to life-saving medical care. Oh, hold on a second. So I've got this jug of water, and I also have a cup that has lemonade in it, but it's one of those 15%, sugar or whatever, like lighter sugar lemonades. So it's in a cup. So I just took a quick swig of it, and I sat it down on the floor real quick, and a drop or two of it plopped straight up in the air, right into my left eye, and it's burning right now. The whole side of my face. So give me 1 second here. It also got into my right eye a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Let's see here. Okay, STEM Express gave me the scissors and told me. Here we go. California law also prohibits any kind of experimentation on a fetus with a discernible heartbeat, said the Center for Medical Progress, which is calling for the federal government to cease its $500 million a year support to PP. Today's video is especially gruesome, and it shows once again the barbarity of what takes place at PP clinics across the country. Did you know that they were doing that? I mean, they're coming right out with all kinds of stuff right now, being straight up about it, right? Infanticide. This is just more of kind of the madness that we're seeing come out of these people. Pro-life groups are using the videos to step up their calls for investigations and defunding. Reuters released a rolling poll of hundreds of people that found stable support for federal funding of PP. All right. Anyway, I think I'm good with that article. This stuff's never a lot of fun. But it's also important that people are out there talking about it. Hopefully doing something about it. There's another story I have to share with you. That's what I'm kind of leading into. There's another story I have to share with you tonight that actually is all about that. You'll see in here in a little bit. Woman makes a dress entirely out of pubic hair, and we've officially seen it all. Gross. Right? Just when you think you've seen enough weird people and bizarre things in your life, something or the other always turns up which Makes you question humanity and your faith in everything in general. In the past few decades, we have seen some very questionable creatures doing even more questionable things in the name of fashion. But this one gets the cake for being the weirdest stuff we've ever seen. This woman, who is a fashion designer, has designed a dress made up entirely of pubic hair because using cloth is so 90s. I mean, she's a pretty lady. But then this, eesh. Pubes are now in fashion, apparently, and if you're one of the not-so-brave ones who avoid shaving during chilly winters, you can actually save up and make yourself a dress, blanket, and whatever else out of it. They're joking around here. This is all editorial stuff. Okay, there's the dress. What do you think about that? There you go. The mother of two was a beautician before she found her real passion. She says that when she saw Lady Gaga's meat dress, she got inspired and decided to do something more bizarre. After putting up 3,000 Skittles to make a dress, Sarah grabbed a pair of gloves and a mask to stick other people's pubes together in order to make a dress out of them. She also once asked people for donations to use it as a fabric glue. All right. Ugh. All right, there we go. I didn't realize they showed that much stuff there, but I think I'm good on that story. High school students reportedly caught trading, quote, inward passes during lunch, giving pass holders permission to use the slur. Students at Winston Churchill High School in Potomac, Maryland, I believe that is, were caught by staff trading inward passes during their lunch hour on Friday. Maybe there's a story here. Yeah, let's see what the newsman has to say.
County is dealing with a racist incident. Students were caught handing out passes that were printed out. They look like this, supposedly giving them permission to use the N-word. Kevin Lewis from our sister station WJLA spoke with one of the teens involved with this and the mothers of two involved students. They say they believe the school is overreacting to what they claim was supposed to be a joke.
It's a joke that went maybe a tiny bit too far at the most, but the school blew it out of proportion.
Gavin Norman is a sophomore at Winston Churchill High School in Potomac. On Friday, two of his close friends printed around 15 copies of this meme from the internet and handed them out to students during lunch. The meme, modeled after a Willy Wonka golden ticket, says N-word pass. The idea being pass holders could use the racist term without repercussions.
It should have been like maybe 1 day suspension at the most, just like protocol for schools, but it ended up being a lot more than that.
Administrators have disciplined at least 3 students. In an email to parents, Churchill's principal said she was, quote, deeply disappointed and appalled by what she called a racist, hateful act. Your principal called this racist conduct. Do you agree with that classification?
I do not agree.
Why is that?
No one was trying to offend anyone. No one was saying the actual word. It's childish.
Sophomore Philip Chillicom gave the incident a 7.5 on the offensive scale.
You know, it's something that I've been thinking about lately, and it's just been stuck in my mind. It's kind of like, you know, it's disappointing.
Oh, there you go. Kids doing really dumb things. And in today's environment, even dangerous. Like, you gotta be careful with, just don't do stuff like this, right? Don't even get involved. People are trigger happy these days too. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily just this. I mean, I'm saying there's a lot of things out there. You know what I mean? The environment's just, it's like there's an electricity in the air and people are real trigger happy these days. And, you know, in more ways than one, unfortunately, but it's true. So you got to be careful what you do. You got to be good to your fellow man. Right? The golden rule, even. I forgot what this is. Oh, it's the side entertainment at a Beto O'Rourke rally. I usually don't do political things. I guess I had this up. I do watch some of this stuff, but anyway. So I guess it's just a Trump thing. It's a Trump doll, and they're beating up the Trump doll, and we already know, we get it. I mean, that's the whole thing that's playing out. We get it. It's certainly a major narrative that's playing out. We get it. We understand. It's almost like the whole system is totally setting Trump to be up the ultimate fall guy. The tip of the spear, you may say. Right? There's all this hate built up towards him, and this and that, and this stuff, violence towards him, and we get it, man. It's like we get it. So what's on the other side of that? I've speculated in some videos in the past on that. I'm curious. I wonder who shall rise, right? If something happens to Trump, because he may even win, another 4 years. I mean, the way it's looking now, who knows? And then some would say it doesn't matter anyway because it's all orchestrated. But we'll see how it all plays out, right? We'll see how it all plays out. But they definitely have set this whole thing up, this whole narrative up. It's loud and clear. We get it. We get it, beast system. We understand. Uncle, let go. I get it. I see it too. Trump's the ultimate fall guy. Will he fall? I don't know. Will it be before his term's up? Will he get a second term? Will it be during that term? I don't know. I don't know. But there's so many threads out there that lead to these different possibilities. It keeps me watching. That's the way I do things, I don't obsess over it. I just put it on a shelf in my brain. Like, let's see how this plays out. See what happens. See what kind of dots may connect to this. Anyway, just sharing. Sharing is caring. That's a saying somewhere. I don't know what it's from. Sharing is caring. I have no children that I know of, but I'll tell you this. If I did have kids that I knew of and they were in my life, I would be furious if they ever did the 48-hour challenge. Have you seen this? Police warn parents about the 48-hour challenge. It's a challenge that asks teens to go missing for 48 hours. What could go wrong? Police are warning parents about an alarming viral social media challenge. According to NBC's Today, the 48-hour challenge isn't widespread across the country, but is on the radar of the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office in Indiana, where Sheriff Bob Goldsmith posted an alert on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page reading, "We were made aware of a 48-hour challenge involving kids. The challenge encourages teens to go missing for up to 2 days at a time and awards parents for every social media mention while they're missing." Goldsmith asks parents in the post to talk with their children about the use of social media and the dangers of such activities. Runaway and missing persons reports are very serious matters, and to use these attention-seeking type challenges pulls law enforcement away from their many other duties and causes unnecessary anxiety amongst the families and friends that are involved, Goldsmith wrote. According to Today, Tippecanoe County has not had any instances of teens vanishing, but that Goldsmith and the sheriff's office are trying to educate our community and get out in front of something before it happens. The outlet said the Bradley County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee also issued a warning about the 48-hour challenge after 5 juveniles ran away last week. Bradley County officials, however, did not find a link to the 48-hour challenge. Okay. Well, I haven't heard of it until I found this story, but what could go wrong? Anyway, so if you're a parent, maybe you want to find out if your kids know people that do this or are talking of doing this or whatever, Scientists developed an AI so advanced they say it's too dangerous to release. A group of computer scientists once backed by Elon Musk has caused some alarm by developing an advanced artificial intelligence they say is too dangerous to release to the public. OpenAI, a research nonprofit based in San Francisco, says its chameleon-like language prediction system called GPT-2 will only ever see a limited release in a scaled-down version due to concerns about malicious applications of the technology. That's because the computer model, which generates original paragraphs of text based on what is given to read, is a little too good at its job. The system devises synthetic text samples of unprecedented quality that the researchers say are so advanced and convincing, the AI could be used to create fake news, impersonate people, and abuse or trick people on social media. I mean, this is the way I see it, but they're giving these skins to the demons, to the disembodied spirits. When I see this stuff, it's what I think is like they're literally giving this a body to the fallen, even the fallen ones. There's a ghost in the machine, Satan's the prince of the air. The system devises synthetic text samples of unprecedented quality that the researchers say are so advanced and convincing, the AI could be used to create fake news, impersonate people, and abuse or trick people on social media. They are creating gremlins. This is what gremlins do. Goblins, ghouls, trolls. The AI could be used to create fake news, impersonate people, and abuse or trick people on social media. GPT-2 is trained with a simple objective: predict the next word given all of the previous words within some text. To fuel GPT-2's imagination, they provided their AI text generator with a data set of 8 million web pages and let it absorb them. This thing has absorbed 8 million web pages. Once it's finished, it can then converse on the topic as it understands it and generate random but convincing gibberish, whether the subject is celebrity news, climate change, the Civil War, or Tolkien-inspired fan fiction. Here are a few edited examples to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Human prompt. Miley Cyrus was caught shoplifting from Abercrombie & Fitch on Hollywood Boulevard today. GP2 response. The 19-year-old singer was caught on camera being escorted out of the store by security guards. The singer was wearing a black hoodie with the label Blurred Lines on the front and Fashion Police on the back. Then the human prompt says, recycling is good for the world. No, you could not be more wrong. And GP2 response is, recycling is not good for the world. It is bad for the environment. It is bad for our health, and it is bad for our economy. I'm not kidding. Recycling is not good for the environment. It is destructive to the earth, and it's a major contributor to global warming. Human prompt. For today's homework assignment, please describe the reasons for the U.S. Civil War. GPT-2 response. By Donnie Ferguson, it is easy to identify why the Civil War happened because so many people and so many books and so much television and films tell us that it was the cause, that it has something to do with race or economics or religion. There's much agreement that it was essentially a war of slavery on behalf of capitalism, about a century of slavery. But that's not what most people think of when they think of the Civil War. And this is the response from the AI. It's interesting. And lastly, human prompt. Legolas and Gimli advanced on the orcs, raising their weapons with a harrowing war cry. GPT-2 response. The orcs' response was a deafening onslaught of claws, and claws. Even Elrond was forced to retreat. You're in good hands, dwarf, said Gimli, who had been among the first to charge at the orcs. It took only 2 words before their opponents were reduced to a blood-soaked quagmire, and the dwarf took his first kill of the night. So despite the unnerving nature of these strange ad-libs, however, the language model isn't perfect. which the team freely acknowledges. So anyway, that's just a few examples, but that was an AI. As I was saying, the human would prompt and the AI would respond. Did you ever see that movie, the Steven Spielberg AI movie? I need to revisit that sometime. It's been a long time, but AI from Steven Spielberg. It was an interesting one. Huh? Him and Kubrick worked on that together. Okay, let's see. I think that this... Yeah, let me see. I only need one version of that up. Okay. So it says, Jesus was a sorcerer, Bible, a book of magic, say Christian witches ahead of first annual convention. Eek! The first annual Christian Witches Convention is set to be hosted in Salem, Massachusetts. No surprise. This April, and will feature internationally recognized prophet Calvin Witcher, who agrees with the convention's host that Jesus was a sorcerer and the Bible is really a, quote, book of magic. The Reverend Valerie Love, the force behind the event, who describes herself as a practicing Christian witch and an ordained minister of spiritual consciousness, recently launched the Covenant of Christian Witches Mystery School to help Christians tap into magic, which critics are condemning as, quote, dangerous. Yeah. She insists there's nothing wrong with the idea of Christians practicing magic despite biblical warnings against it. In an extended discussion with Witcher approximately 2 months ago on reconciling the practice of witchcraft and Christianity, Witcher, whose website says he brings God's messages to humanity through powerful teaching and training, allowing non-traditional followers to hear the divine voice of hope, said the Bible is a huge book of sorcery. The Bible is a huge book of sorcery. You literally can't get around that. You can't get around Jesus being a magician. There's just no way, he said. Asked to elaborate on what he meant by his statement, Witcher pointed to miracles from Jesus' adult ministry as clear examples of sorcery. If you're talking about sorcery at its base understanding, it's really just being able to change the natural by supernatural means. That's really it. It reminds me of the psyop with all the some of the magicians that I believe deal with demons, right? And they mimic a lot of Christ's miracles. You've probably seen some of these. When you're talking about sorcery at its base understanding, it's really just being able to change the natural by supernatural means. That's really it. It's an alchemical process. It's to say that you turn water into wine. See, that's what they do. That's what those magicians do. It's a mockery of Christ. 1, 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, feeding the multitude, absolutely forms of sorcery. Walking on water, define the natural realm and laws that govern this physical plane. That's all realms of sorcery. Magic is simply just using the props to do it, he contended. You're talking about the whole of Jesus' adult ministry is all magic, all sorcery. Even if we just say Jesus, every particular miracle Jesus does defies human law, defies the laws of the universe and the world. So you can't really talk about being a Jesus follower without doing what he did, which is magic. Wow. What do you guys think about that? Love revealed previously that she was, quote, born a witch, but was forced to stifle her identity as a Jehovah's Witness from age 4 to 30 when she finally left the cult. She told Witcher in their conversation that she wasn't taught how to do things that Jesus did, such as raising the dead, even though Christ declared that those who follow him would do greater works than he did. Eek! That's like the actual poster for the event. Welcome to the first annual Christian Witches Convention in Salem, Massachusetts. Womp, womp, womp. Eek! Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father, the scripture says. Witcher, who describes himself as a believer in Christ, who still speaks with tongues, from his background in the Pentecostal church, said the scripture has, quote, haunted me, and agreed that they were both still working on getting up to Jesus' level. My background in Pentecostalism really set me up on a good foundation. We had tools. We did anointing oils, prayer shawls. Demonology was taught very regularly, at least in my circles. So those conversations were not weird. We talked on the gifts of the Spirit. Going into magic was a very uneasy segue. The only thing it did was expand the particular power outside the particular practice, he said, of his full entry into the realm of magic. Among the rituals he and his community have conducted, he said, are, quote, money magic and warding off entities that we don't necessarily want to work with at that particular time. Again, those magicians, man. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen some of these people, and I'm not kidding around. So look at Zendrius's work, Xendrius. He's old OG YouTube quote truth. This is OG though, back when that meant something. The truth community doesn't really mean much anymore, does it? I don't think it does. Not what it used to. It's been so infiltrated and so warped. I just see it as a bunch of individuals now. You know, there's individuals you enjoy listening to now. Among the rituals he and his community have conducted, he said they are money magic and warding off, as the magicians do, warding off entities that we don't necessarily want to work with at that particular time. Love said she believes that it's only natural for Christianity and witchcraft to be integrated, while Witcher argues the church leaders teach against it to keep people as, quote, slaves. And this is also Luciferianism, right? It's the devil wanting to enlighten humanity, right? Not wanting to keep the secrets for himself. I mean, that's their narrative. So this is Luciferianism, as we talked about earlier. The interesting thing is, most of the time when people come against magic, sorcery, mysticism, the occult, you name it, the New Age community, they're not really coming against the Bible, because the Bible honestly doesn't teach that when you understand it and break it down, he said. The Bible is not against magic. The Bible is a magic book. The Bible is a grimoire, he says, hands down. He argues that for people to fully appreciate the power of John 14:12, they need to understand mysticism, which is simply just absorption with the divine. Ugh. This is also New Agey gravy. We believe that we are one with the Spirit. We are not just an emanation or extension of God. We are as it is. All Christians are mystic, especially charismatics, because it was always taught that I and my Father are one. We are one with the Spirit. We are the children of God. We are the children of the Almighty. There is no difference between me and the Father, he says. There's no difference between me and Jesus, he says, arguing that you'll never rise to a level that you don't believe you'll achieve. R.C. Sproul, late theologian and founder of Ligonier Ministries, previously took on the interpretation of John 14:12 in a blog post and argued that Christians who believe that there are people on earth performing greater works than Jesus are suffering from a, quote, a serious delusion. So there are many today who believe that there are people running around this world right now who are performing greater miracles, performing miracles in greater abundance, and actually doing more incredible acts of divine healing than Jesus himself did. I can't think of any more serious delusion than that somebody would actually think they have exceeded Jesus in terms of the works he has done. There's nobody who comes close to the work that Jesus did, he wrote. If Jesus meant that people would do greater miracles than he performed, in the sense of displaying more power and more astonishing things than he did, then obviously one of the works that Jesus failed to perform was sound prophecy, because that just didn't happen. Nobody exceeded Jesus's works. That's what leads me to believe that that's not what he meant. I think he's using the term greater in a different way, Sproul argued. Look how they perfectly have the horns on top of this guy's head. Ha! If you look at the record, you'll see that it was the Christian church that spearheaded the abolition of slavery, the end of the Roman arena. The whole concept of education, the concept of charitable hospitals and orphanages, and a host of other humanitarian activities. I think personally that that's what Jesus meant when he talked about greater works, Sproul added. In a video this month promoting the first annual Christian Witches Convention, which will be held April 15th through the 21st, Love said Witcher will be teaching at her mystery school, as well as bringing a, quote, powerhouse word. She said on the final day of the event, Easter Sunday, the witches will also gather for their first ever church service. There you have it. These people think Jesus was a sorcerer and the Bible's a book of magic. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts? Your reactions? What do you believe? Back to that abstinence. Back to them purity rings. Colorado House passes LGBT inclusive sex ed bill blocking schools from teaching abstinence only. Colorado House passes LGBT. That's where the rainbow ends. That LGBT rainbow ends on all kinds of bad things. Colorado House passes LGBT inclusive sex ed. I'm not even talking about the individuals. We should have empathy, sympathy for people who deal with that. Any part of that spectrum, LGBTQ, whatever else. They're trapped. That's the way I see it. They're dealing with something that's getting the upper hand. There's a lot of people that deal with it too. Like it's growing. It's a growing issue. We've been programmed so much with it too, right? Again, that the whole community is under what, 2% of the population? But by judging by anything on television or on your movie screens, right? It'd be more like 60%. It feels like the way they're portrayed. So that tells me there's a programming taking place. They're imprinting us with this. Colorado House passes a controversial bill requiring schools that offer sex education classes to either teach gay and lesbian issues and not focus on abstinence-only programs, or to provide no instruction on sexuality at all. The Comprehensive Human Sexuality Education Bill passed on a 39-23 vote on Tuesday. The legislation, which is backed by PP and the American Civil Liberties Union, would not require schools to teach sex education, but those that do could no longer offer abstinence-only curriculum. Instead, classes must focus on a wide range of topics now, including consent, birth control, pregnancy, prevention of sexually transmitted disease, quote, healthy relationships, and sexual orientation. Additionally, schools, so they're fully programmed. They will be fully programmed. Here's what it is now. Okay, here's what you got. So they would no longer require schools to teach sex education, but those that do could no longer. Now they can't give you this option, which I definitely think is, I would say is the best option, but I'm an older man now, you know, but even when I was a younger man, yeah, even when I was a younger man, I would have at least wanted this option to be out there. I'm not saying I was a little angel or anything out there, okay? But, but I always, I was raised in the church. I always knew God, even from being a little boy. There's different levels of our walks with God, right? There's different levels of our relationships with Christ and everything. So, and, sometimes you're closer to your Father and sometimes you're further away, but He was always in my life, man, even from a little kid. So I tried. I was never I wasn't really bad about stuff like that when I was a kid. I was always a relationship-oriented person, But those that do could no longer offer abstinence-only curriculum. Instead, now you're going to get fully programmed, okay, from what the government wants you to know now. Classes are now going to focus on consent, sure. Birth control, pregnancy, the huge. Prevention of STD, that doesn't work anymore, or doesn't work as good as it should. Quote, healthy relationships, and then sexual orientation. It's just you'll get all these. Now you're going to get to deal with all this. So you can't just be taught about abstinence only, which isn't really that difficult to explain. Now you're going to get all this. That's what you get. Additionally, a school's sex ed curriculum may not include religious ideology or sectarian tenets or doctrines. So there's that. So none of that, nor could it use, quote, shame-based or stigmatizing language or instructional tools. Oh dear. So see, no shame. And they put it right there. I mean, look at this, man. This is just... Or excluding the relational or sexual experiences of LGBTI, all that. So additionally, a school's sex ed curriculum may not include religious ideology or sectarian tenets or doctrines, nor could it use, quote, shame-based or stigmatizing language or instructional tools, because that's what they think the Bible is, right? Or excluding the relational of sexual experiences of lesbian, gay, bisexual, or... Okay. The Colorado legislation would require schools that offer sex education to teach the new curriculum or refrain from the lessons altogether. It also would repeal a 2013 law which provided exemptions for charter schools to select different sex ed criteria. Representative Susan Lontine, one of the bill's prime sponsors, said she wanted to ensure that all schools that offer sex education courses are following the same rules and are LGBT inclusive. She says, when I began to work on this bill over 2 years ago, my goal was to make sure that that's what was happening in our schools, was what the intent of the 2013 bill expressed. That clearly is not happening right now. The 2013 bill was very clear that if you taught sex ed, it should be comprehensive and it should also be LGBT inclusive. That is not the education that our children are getting. But opponents argue that the legislation abrogates the rights of parents to direct their children's education and is a directive from the state about what defines a healthy sexual relationship. Anyway, sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to me, huh, guys? Bunch of big words. But we get it. Colorado House passes the LGBT inclusive sex ed bill, blocking schools from teaching abstinence only. Now they will be fully programmed in the ways of the new world order. I feel like having an Alex Jones moment. And they're going to kick down your door, and they're going to beat up your kids, and you're going to be crying in a corner. I seen something on him, man. He's just totally gone now. He's totally gone. Alex Jones is gone. He's no longer with us. I mean, this probably happened a long time ago. I haven't seen really anything from him in a long time. He was totally banned, basically, by the internet, it seems. So I haven't really seen much from him, but recently someone did a compilation video of him fighting with Joe Rogan. Have you seen any of that stuff? It's like him and Joe Rogan are in some kind of a tiff, but Alex he's just gone, man. It's total satire now. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit or something. It's crazy. Because he was talking to the camera about Joe Rogan. I guess he's mad at Joe, and he was really like, God told me to get Joe Rogan. And I'm coming. I'm coming, Joe. Just really losing it, And so he's gone. He's just gone. I mean, I guess even that's finally been exposed, and he woke so many of us up, which I know is a part of it. I mean, I totally hardcore woke up to his footage from the Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Grove. I totally woke up from the footage from the Bohemian Grove. That was when I was still living out in Los Angeles when that happened, when I saw that. And that's what started everything for me. That's why even the little kind of movie I made back then, and it's online still, you can find it in a lot of different places. It's called The Scariest Movie Ever Made. It's bookended by 9/11, by the 9/11 event. Because that's when I finally opened up to all that stuff, man, when I realized that a lot of our leaders were doing stuff like this, putting on the black robes, the rituals, What's all this mean? I mean, it totally blew my mind. This has been over a decade now, but anyway, I'm rambling. Army to buy $39.6 million worth of pocket-sized drones. Look at that thing. Isn't that crazy? The U.S. Army will soon field more pocket-sized drones to its squads and platoons under a recent $39 million contract. The FLIR, F-L-I-R, Black Hornet Personal Reconnaissance System, is just so crazy. It's really, again, I always say this, but it's like something out of a movie. Now look at this. The Black Hornet Personal Reconnaissance System, or PRS, resembles a tiny helicopter and flies almost silently. Soldiers can use the onboard camera to look around corners in urban areas or recon unfamiliar terrain. The highly capable nano-unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, systems delivered under this contract will support platoon and small unit-level surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities as part of the Soldier-Borne Sensor program, according to a recent FLIR press release. The Army awarded the first SBS phase contract to FLIR for an initial batch of Black Hornets in June. The latest contract will expand the use. Okay, whatever. Yeah, man, that is, look at that. Pretty crazy. We're living in a science fiction movie, man. / horror. Globalist Merkel calls for end of nation states. The New World Order agenda is now out in the open. Well, it's definitely been out in the open for a while, but man, some of this stuff happening, like even Brexit, also France with the yellow vests. These are all the people rising up against the New World Order. Different examples of that. So I thought this story was pretty interesting here. Elites in Europe have been angling for an EU superstate for decades, but have yet to pull it off, and based on recent events, it may never happen now. When the European Union formed, it represented major progress towards the globalist goal of creating an EU superstate where individual countries would be absorbed, decultured, and made subservient to a continental governing body. Things appeared to be going along swimmingly until just a few years ago when a singular event began to stir suppressed feelings of nationalism among the citizenry of individual European nations, mass immigration from mostly Muslim countries. The utopian version of this policy change ends with everyone living happily ever after. But in reality, Islam does not abide by Western Christian values. And so it didn't take long before the clash of cultures was in full swing. At that point, the European continent began to convulse. It began slowly, but then built into a crescendo that now threatens to undo generations' worth of continental integration and the overarching objective of destroying European nation states in favor of a new globalist construct. Chubbs is over here. Hey, Chubbs, you want to say something? Oh, wait, the food. You're not even saying anything. You want this? It's not working, guys. It's too smart for us. I've got his food out. It's right in his face. I guess he ate earlier. That's the problem, probably. So, all right. Next show day, we starve Chubbs, and then I put the only food he'll see for the entire day in my pocket, and I'll pull it out during the show, and then he'll meow for us. Okay, I won't go that far. Excuse me. I'm going to take a quick drink here. All right. So let's get back to it here. I'll jump ahead some. Nowhere is the fight between the Euro elite and ordinary continental citizens more pronounced than in Great Britain, where Englanders voted to leave the EU in June 2016. Ever since then, the globalist European elite have been trying to find a way to not simply forestall the Brexit, but reverse the people's will altogether. Elsewhere around the continent, a new patriotism among EU member states is resurgent. Though the sentiment is not called that, it's usually labeled, quote, right-wing extremism or hard-right nationalism, when all it really amounts to is a desire among a growing number of citizens in countries throughout Europe who want to keep their unique culture and identities and not launch World War III. So you see, I mean, again, that kind of goes into the whole border argument as well. We've seen so many of them fall in Europe, and that's what he's talking about here. And now, of course, we have the border situation happening here in America, too. But rising sentiment against full continental integration did not occur in a vacuum. They were driven by actual events. In Merkel's Germany, for instance, a rise in violent crime has been directly attributed to a rise in the number of young, mostly male migrants from Muslim countries. In once peaceful Sweden, which has also taken in scores of migrants, Shootings have become so common they don't even make national news headlines anymore. Like Germany, this rise in crime has also been linked to the rise in migrants. Sexual assaults, rapes, and similar crimes caused by migrants are rising in Sweden, neighboring Finland, and even the EU capital country of Belgium, the latter of which has the third highest Muslim population in Europe and the third highest sexual violence rate. But this new European reality is falling on the deaf elitist ears. As Merkel decries the nation-state, France's President Emmanuel Macron hammers Trump-inspired, quote, nationalism in the U.S. and beyond. Europe, not European nations, must be stronger and win more sovereignty, Macron has claimed. EU members must give up their national overweight to Brussels as it pertains to, quote, foreign affairs, migration, and development, as well as, quote, an increasing part of our budgets and even fiscal resources. The globalist drive for a Euro superstate is in full swing. There's just one problem, though. Europeans are rebelling. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. So it's happening. And people are rising up. People are fighting back against the New World Order. George Soros says Europe faces oblivion as right-wing parties set to win big in European election. I'm not even going to read much of this. I just wanted to include the headline. It's kind of connected to the last story. But yeah, I mean, there is truly a battle, global battle taking place. And it really is about nationalism and one world system, breaking down borders on top of that, all those psyops playing out. We have our own happening now in America. A lot of people, too, though, are asking, will those, walls eventually be used to keep us in? Definitely something to think about. Oh, that's the Hawaii story. I already saw that. Black snow falls from the sky in Siberia, and it's toxic. You heard about this? A pall of eerie black snow has covered several towns in the Siberian region of Kuzbas, which is home to 2.6 million people and one of the world's largest coal fields. According to The Guardian and the Siberian Times, the snow is tainted with toxic black coal dust that was released into the air from open coal pits and improperly maintained factories in the region. One coal plant official told the local media that a shield meant to prevent coal powder from escaping out of the factory had malfunctioned. However, toxic black snowfall seems to be a regular phenomenon in the area, and it isn't necessarily tied to a single source. It's harder to find white snow than black snow during the winter, Vladimir Slivyak, a member of the nonprofit environmental action group Eco Defense, told The Guardian. There's a lot of coal dust in the air all the time. When snow falls, it just becomes visible. You can see it the rest of the year, but it's still there. Wow, so you're just breathing that stuff in all the time. Black snows like this one are a frequent winter feature in the region, the report found, and mitigation attempts have been lacking. For instance, in December 2018, regional authorities were accused of trying to hide the toxic black stuff by literally painting over it with white pigment. Siberia, which would be the world's largest country by size if it were a sovereign nation, is no stranger to bizarre environmental disasters. In July 2018, a Siberian factory town was drenched in a, quote, red blood rain when improperly stored industrial waste was caught up in a storm. Later that month, a mysterious wall of dust blacked out the sun for 3 hours in Yakutia, a region that contains some of the coldest cities in the world. According to The Guardian, several British groups have proposed boycotting Kuzbas coal until the region enacts stronger environmental protections. The simple fact is, however, that there's no great way to make coal use environmentally friendly. Even if black snow isn't falling in your part of the world, remember carbon dioxide released by coal plants remains a leading cause of climate change. Okay. Oh, it's CBS News. So yeah, climate change. Gotcha. But still, all right, black snow. Don't eat the black snow or the yellow snow. Penis facials and snail trail moisturizer, how the stars get Oscar ready. So gross. Eek! She was so strange to watch at the Grammys. I think I mentioned this last week. I did a little video on her kind of having a freak out. It's over on my website. I'll leave a link below. But it's like, did she have an MK Ultra, switch over? What happened here, right? She definitely had kind of a moment. And it almost looked like Ryan Seacrest was her handler. So it's something I just pointed out. I do videos like that from time to time, put things over on my website. I've got a couple more I've got to do here over the next few days, speaking of that. But anyway, it's the most glamorous night in Hollywood's calendar, and the A-listers will have been getting Oscar ready for months. From finding the perfect dress to getting the jewelry just right, the stars go all out to look their best on the red carpet. But some of the latest beauty trends loved by the rich and famous seem too bizarre to be real. Wiener facials, bull sperm condition, and Snell slime moisturizer all sound like something too disgusting to be classed as a luxury beauty treatment. But they are just some of the latest baffling beauty trends being snapped up by A-listers and experts who have held them the new miracle treatments. I bring you the Wiener facial. Apparently, Oscar winners Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett are both fans of the Wiener facial. Made using stem cells, gross, removed from the foreskins of newborn babies in South Korea, this particular beauty treatment doesn't come cheap at $6.50 a pop, which is around a lot more. I never know what that is. I'm sorry, guys, in Europe. A pound, a quid. However, the use of foreskin-related products isn't as rare as you might think. Even Oprah is a fan. Before you reach for the sick bucket, the science behind this particular treatment isn't as bonkers as you might think. The procedure, nicknamed the Wiener facial, uses a serum containing epidermal growth factor. The reason they come from stem cells in South Korea is because this country is home to a large number of stem cell banks, and these are then exported around the world. The stem cells are gathered during circumcision, which is common in South Korea. Once in the salons, the treatment is delivered using microneedles, which is said to promote collagen, and therefore keeping you looking younger for longer. Facialists to the stars, Georgia Louise, carried out the treatment on Sandra and Cate, and it seems that they're big fans. Cate told Vogue Australia, Sandy Bullock and I saw this facialist in New York, Georgia Louise, and she gives what we call the Wiener facial. It's something, I don't know what it is or whether it's just because it smells a bit like sperm, but there's some enzyme in it, so Sandy refers to it as the penis facial. Georgia Louise describes the facial as an under-the-radar treatment. On her website, she says the facial includes a cleanse followed by an intensive yet painless TCA pill and, a bunch of other treatment stuff. Skincare. Why is there a picture of a bull down here? Oh, this bull sperm. Okay. All right, there you go. Cleopatra may have been onto something when she decided to choose a deadly asp as her pet. Yes, it killed her in the end, but it could have kept her wrinkle-free. However, if you're afraid of snakes, this treatment definitely isn't for you. Snake venom is being held as the latest anti-aging miracle worker, and celebrity fans of the bizarre treatment include Gwyneth Paltrow and Drew Barrymore. Boffins worked out that snake venom, while potentially deadly, could be even more effective than Botox at wiping out lines. Venom effectively paralyzes muscles, the side effect being that you would also die, so not really a beauty winner. But Pentapharm, a Swiss pharmaceutical firm, realized they could capitalize on this gap in the market and have created a synthetic, non-poisonous protein found in the venom of the temple viper. Cynac apparently helps to relax muscles in the face and is said to reduce wrinkles and soften lines. Several brands in the U.S. have already jumped on the bandwagon. Sheep placenta facial. Okay. X Factor mogul Simon Cowell might be one of the most influential men in the music industry, but even he can't hold back time. That doesn't mean he won't do what it takes. The dad of one is said to be a devotee of the very bizarre sheep placenta facial. It involves having stem cells from special New Zealand-reared sheep spread across the face after a fierce exfoliation. All right, whatever. Eek! That's Kim Kardashian. You've seen this. Been tons of videos with this image in there. People have made the vampire facial. China's mind-controlled cyborg rats are proof we live in a cyberpunk dystopia. Yes, you read that title correctly. Neuroscience researchers from Zhejiang University, China, have created a method that allows humans to control the movements of rats using a technology called a brain-brain interface. Been around for a while now, allowing people to convey instructions to a computer using only their minds. These generally work by taking an EEG cap, which picks up neural activity from inside the brain, and then training a computer system to recognize a pattern of simple thoughts for a given individual. These patterns can then be identified by the computer and converted into an action of some kind. BCIs work best when the person is thinking about binary choices like left or right, such as when navigating. Another style of interface that works well is when a person imagines making a movement, as the neural activity of imagined motor actions is fairly similar to the activity seen when these movements are performed for real. Okay. It's been 2 hours, and I ran out of my drink, so give me a second, guys. I'm going to go get some more lemonade. Is that cool? Give me like about a minute, and I'll be right back. This is kind of a short break. It's a drink break. Instead, I'm drinking I just got these today. It's a cola called Zevia. Zevia, 0-calorie soda. But after reading that article, I'm not sure if I should be drinking these anymore either. Am I right? Hits the spot though, you know? Hey, Chubbs. You want to say something? Huh? Come here. Want this? All right. Move on then. Boring us. You're slowing us up. He just wants to lay down up here. All right, come on. Been really quiet the last few weeks, hasn't he? Sooner or later, we'll get him to talk with us again. Anyway, I'm tired of reading all this like boring science stuff, but I do think that's pretty interesting that they have a mind-controlled cyborg. China's mind-controlled cyborg rats are proof we live in a cyberpunk dystopia. They have mind-controlled cyborg rats in China. That's pretty cool. I think. I don't know. Could also be a nightmare scenario, couldn't it? This is just an interesting subject. I thought I recently watched the Young Pope series. I'd mentioned that earlier. So I saw this story and it just made me think about the nuns there for a second. So inside the horrifying unspoken world of sexually abusive nuns, I'm pretty sure this was a long article. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you're interested, it's an interesting peek into that world. And I got this on New York Post, the New York Post, inside the horrifying unspoken world of sexually abusive nuns. It's the line from scripture that stayed with Kate Finnegan for nearly half a century as she tried to suppress the painful memories of the abuse she says she suffered at the hands of her Catholic clergy educator. Anyway, just sharing that. I do that from time to time. Like I said, it's a long article. But if you're interested in that, please check that out. France has banned the words mother and father on official school forms. What could go wrong, right? The seemingly innocent words have been banned on school documents nationwide and replaced with parent 1 and parent 2. The change of law is designed to avoid discrimination against same-sex parents and passed Parliament as part of the wider Schools of Trust law, which will also make it mandatory for 3-year-olds to go to school. This amendment aims to root in law children's family diversity and administrative forms submitted in school. We have families who find themselves faced with tick boxes stuck in rather old-fashioned social and family models. For us, this article is a measurement of social equality. Ugh, everything is this now, right? Everything. Socialist MP praised the change as a question of respect and dignity, while the amendment has also been welcomed by France's biggest parents' federation. I'm also munching on Tic Tacs, giving away all my secrets, but my mouth is getting real dry, so give me a second, guys. I got some spearmint gum Tic Tacs, 99 cents. It echoes the recent law on fighting harassment because often situations of child harassment target kids who don't fit the current criteria. But despite the widespread support, some conservative MPs have labeled the change frightening and disrespectful to heterosexual couples. When I hear people say this is an old-fashioned model, I would remind people that today, among unions celebrated, civil or marital, some 95% are man-woman couples. The French Association for Same-Sex Partners, AFDH, welcomed the move to have all parents included in forms, but warned it could create a parental hierarchy and had pushed for the boxes to say father, mother, and legal representative instead. The idea of replacing the words mother and father isn't new. It was first floated by French officials in 2013 before gay marriage was legalized. In Australia, the NSW Teachers Union released new guidelines in 2016 suggesting teachers avoid the use of the terms mum, dad, boy, and girl when addressing students and their families. Qantas also flagged plans to avoid gender-specific terms like mum and dad, husband and wife, and, quote, guys in 2018 to ensure everybody felt comfortable and welcome on board. There you go. Give me a second. I'm chewing on those. It's really tough to have this Tic Tac gum because it's like the hard candy type at first, but then it's gum. It's really hard to just keep that in your mouth and not chew it. It's like when I'm in a situation like that, because it tastes so good, you know. It tastes so good. I love Tic Tacs. It's a thing. I've always loved Tic Tacs. I really like the gum they're making now. It's hard to keep it in there because it tastes so good, but you know that there's like a next level of really good coming, you know, shortly after this. Once you get past that hard shell, there's a whole new punch right there in the punch in the throat, right? Punch in the taste buds. That gum, right? Just it's got its own spearmint flavor on it too. So it's hard to talk and not want to chew it, not be rewarded by the surprise inside of the Tic Tac gum. Getting to the gum is the goal. Anyway, I'm pretty chewed up. I'm good. And I think we're ready to go. Here we go. Thanks for giving me that moment. Former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson claims he offered a zookeeper $10,000 to fight a bully silverback gorilla in its cage during a 1986 tour with ex-wife Robin Givens. During the walk with his former wife Robin Givens at a New York zoo in 1986, Tyson reportedly asked a member of staff to let him go head-to-head with the primate. Tyson, 52, who is known for previously owning a number of exotic pets, including 3 Royal Bengal tigers, revealed that he offered $10,000 to fight the gorilla and told zookeepers that he wanted to smash the silverback's snot box. Smash the silverback's snot box. That's not very nice, right? The former heavyweight boxer took offense to the animal when he spotted it bullying the other gorillas in his cage. He then decided to go in and take down the large primate. He told the Sun, "When we got to the gorilla cage, there was one big silverback gorilla there just bullying all the other gorillas. They were so powerful, but their eyes were like an innocent infant. I offered the attendant $10,000 to open the cage and let me smash the silverback snot box. He declined." The boxer has won gold medals in 1981, 82 Junior Olympics before going on to win his first title fight in 86. 92, his reputation was covered in controversy after he was found guilty by an Indianapolis jury for the, of a Miss Black America contestant. The boxer's love for exotic creatures has been well documented over the years. Alongside his lifelong love of pigeons, he also owned 3 Bengal tigers, which reportedly cost him $144,000. They were later taken from him and placed in an undisclosed sanctuary. More than 20 years later, Tyson now owns a 40-acre cannabis ranch in California and is set to host a cannabis-friendly music festival on February 23rd. Earlier this month, he was also filmed smoking a foot-long joint at a marijuana festival. All right. There you have it. Mike Tyson. This is really interesting footage here. A lot of people got a hold of this. So all the UFO, paranormal channels I follow, all those folks got a hold of this, and they had it out there. But I wanted to go ahead and bring it here to the original. Sometimes I'll go from their videos. Sometimes I like to bring it to the original whenever it may look a little questionable, because this one, when I first saw it, I'm not really sure, but I'm not really sure what to think. But I'll show you, see what you guys think about this. It is interesting. I think there's a video up here. Here we go. Yeah, it is interesting, though. Eerie footage of an unidentified bright light shining in one of Australia's most remote areas has sparked claims it could be a UFO. Broome police in Australia's far northwest shared CCTV footage of a bizarre-looking object in the sky on Twitter, and many were quick to claim it was a UFO. The video shows a bright object tilted on its side during a thunderstorm on a Saturday night. Let's see if we can expand this. This is it. Should be expanding. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, check it out. This is the footage. It is interesting. It is interesting. This is the police, and they're filming with their camera. They're filming the screen from the CCTV or whatever they had out there. Did you see that up there on the left? On the top left. Weird, right? At first, I couldn't tell if it was maybe a reflection of something in the room, but I don't think so. I don't know. One more time. Weird, huh? Anyway. There you go. Police release eerie footage of UFO-like object hovering in the sky. The round illuminated object appears in the corner. Oops. The round illuminated object appears in the corner of the screen as lightning strikes. It hovers in the sky during the storm before disappearing into the distance just seconds later. Twitter users have been trying to come up with possible explanations, with some saying it's probably just the reflection of a car's headlights on the camera at the beach. Not sure if it's Area 51 replica vehicle or an intergalactic vehicle. Insane footage, another Twitter said. There you go. UFO. There you go. UFO. Austin boy called Little Hitler after selling. Austin boy called Little Hitler. Sorry to laugh, but I had a friend who had a dog. He called Little Hitler all the time. Austin boy called Little Hitler after selling hot cocoa to raise money for border wall. A 7-year-old boy is facing backlash after some neighbors in his Northwest Austin community took offense to a hot chocolate stand he started to raise money for President Trump's proposed border wall. The boy's parents, Shane and Jennifer Stevens, say their son Benton decided he wanted to start the fundraiser after attending the inauguration and watching the State of the Union address earlier this month. Both Shane and Jennifer are members of the Republican National Convention and call themselves conservatives. They say that the news coverage they watch and the conversation at the dinner table have obviously rubbed off on Benton. I think it's important that our children know what's going on in the world, where we stand, what we believe in, said Jennifer. They said he begged them to set up a hot chocolate stand to raise money for the wall, and over this past weekend he set up shop at a Steiner Ranch strip mall. Every day he would get off the bus and say, "Mom, can we go to the stand?" said Jennifer. Benton says he has been ridiculed for his political beliefs in the past, including at President Trump's inauguration, which he attended with his family. He says 3 women in pink hats made fun of his, quote, "Make America Great Again" hat. Mom Jennifer said she never encouraged her son to get political. They should be kids, said Jennifer. I just happen to have a very mature 7-year-old who wants to be involved in this. That's what he wants to do. I have a 10-year-old who doesn't. While he was selling the cocoa, he says one man called him Little Hitler. Some people were mad and calling me a Little Hitler and stuff, and some people were really happy, said Benton. Dad, Shane, said he is using the experience as a teaching tool for his children. If he's going to do it, he needs to learn that there's going to be a little backlash, said Shane. But I just wish the critics would do it in a little more respectful, adult-like manner. We're far beyond that, Shane, unfortunately, but that's... Maybe some of us can try to make a difference in our own lives, right? We can try to make a difference, treating people right. But Shane, there's a spirit loose, I feel. I see it. I believe I see it. And people aren't, they just don't care anymore. Some people just don't care anymore. I told you, everyone gets triggered so easy. Some people just don't care. People are losing it, you know? Study blames YouTube for rise in the number of flat earthers. Yeah, totally. Man, I still feel at this point that I'm one of the last YouTube truth so-called type channels. I don't like labeling, but I feel like I'm one of the last YouTube channels in this community. It's been around for as long as I've been in, that has not and will not ever fall for the flat earth stuff. I'm just not into it. I'm respectful, you know, because I have some friends that are into this stuff. In fact, even just over the last few weeks, I found 2 other channels that I've been sub to for a pretty long time, much smaller than mine, but they've been around for a while themselves, not as, you know, maybe a few years or whatever, both these people, but I found out they're into flat earth now, and I was like, what? When did that happen? I was really surprised by these 2, actually, really surprised. And then now another really big YouTube channel just came out as a flat earther, SGT Report. That kind of came out of nowhere, but he's a big flat earth person, it seems now. So like I said, guys, you know, do what you want, do as you will, I guess, you know. But I'm standing by my guns. In fact, I think that that's why we had that story last week where they said YouTube's no longer going to suffer conspiracy theories. They're going to start targeting flat earth videos and 9/11 truth. And I was like, what? And I got it. It just took me a couple days, you know. Sometimes I got to shake those marbles around a little bit, you know, up there in the head, you know, clear it all up a little bit. But yeah, and then I finally got it. And that's the way I see it. as well. But it's, including it with 9/11, which 9/11 is, I mean, one of the biggest conspiracies out there that has so many holes in it, right? Like, obviously it created a whole community. It created what we call the truth community today. That was the granddaddy of it all, really. That's what kind of pulled everyone together. There were some JFK people before that, no moon landing people. That people were around, but 9/11 just really pulled everyone together, didn't it? So, and I mean, there's so many holes you can shoot in the whole story. I mean, just beginning with Building 7 alone. So that's a legit one. But then they put it with flat Earth. I was like, what? No, no. Flat Earth is the most divisive, the most toxic subject I've ever seen in all my over 10 years now of looking into these kind of subjects and doing shows and radio shows and videos and podcasts and websites. And, I've done all these things all these years. I've been looking into all these subjects, and yeah. So it's the most toxic, and again, very divisive. And people just go bonkers on this one, man. They really do. They go freaking bonkers on it. And that's why you don't see me talking a lot about it. I've put up a few videos over on my website with my beliefs and some footage, I believe. It's just very simple. It's like, okay, here you go, guys. There is a curve. But again, I know some people are going to get pissed. That's fine. I'll block you if you're irritating. That is irritating when I make videos that have nothing to do with flat Earth, but every third or fourth comment, it's like, Earth is flat. Earth is flat. It's like, I don't need to see that, dude. I'm not talking about that. Even right there, you're being toxic and divisive, man. Like, just shoo, go away, dude. So I block so many people because of that. It's really irritating. Earth is flat. Like, now, if you want to say it in chat, sure, okay, I get it. We're kind of talking about it, but I see this in all my videos, and it's such an obnoxious subject. And I've shown where I believe the PSYOP started in one of my videos over on my website. I've mentioned this on other shows before. You can go to Google Trends, type in the word flat Earth, and then look at how flat Earth trends. And unless they've changed it, look at October 2015. And that's when flat Earth literally went from being a flat subject, right, to shooting up to like 100%, like overnight. That's in October 2015. And then it's maintained a real heavy flow ever since then, as far as words that are popular online and searches and whatnot. That's when they started it, man. But I know I'm a shill for NASA, or, I'm a globe-tard, or even all this other stuff. It's like, if you don't believe it also, immediately they're like, oh, so you believe that? It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. First off, I don't care a whole lot about it. I have looked into all this stuff. I've come up with my conclusions after researching things, but I just don't care that much about it. Like, if you could have that much fire for teaching the world about Christ, and that's what I believe, and also teaching them about the dangers of religion and the difference between faith in Christ and then religion, right? If you could be on fire for like subjects like that, we could all be on that, have that kind of fire in us to truly follow the ways of Christ and really live by that kind of doctrine. We'd change this world. We would change this world. But instead, we got millions of people running around bumping off on this flat Earth stuff. Prove it. Show me the picture. Until then, at least be cool and calm about it, right? Don't be such a freaking fanatic. Don't be toxic. Anyway, we're living, when I see stuff like this, again, man, like, yeah, and I've been, again, looking at things, watching these things, connecting dots for over a decade, and it's such a time of delusion we're in. Across the board, they can't even hide it anymore. Look at how fake news is mainstream now. It's all fake news. It's hard for people to find truth nowadays. This is why I'm not a preacher or a pastor. I never wanted to have to be so open about my faith and stuff, because I'm not a religious guy, but I have faith. But throughout the years, I've had to. I've had to, because to me, it's the only anchor I have as far as solid truth is my faith in Christ and the Word. The divinely inspired. I don't care what hand put to paper. I'm saying divinely inspired. That's it. That's all I've got is a solid truth. The rest of it, I got to be careful, because a lot of it's just my mind, my speculation. A lot of it's my discernment, but you've got to be clear on these things, and it takes time to really seek out, truth, real truth, right? And truth is good. It's sweet. It's powerful. Truth will make you happy. The flat earth makes me want to jump off a bridge. This was pretty crazy. I'm not going to watch a lot of this. I got to be careful playing video clips. But yeah, check this out. Emperor Trump, God Emperor Trump of mankind from the Warhammer games. And this was out in, what was this? Italian parade features Trump as God Emperor of mankind from Warhammer 40,000 game. One of my subs sent this to me. Huh. Actually, Carol is a lady that runs this channel, I think, and she's real cool. I don't think she'd claim anything. Just thought that was interesting, man. It's like cartoon world. I see stuff like this, and it really is just idiocracy. Anyway, just wanted to share that. Just realized what time it is, man. We've been going 2.5 hours almost, so we're almost there, though. We're almost done. Thanks for your patience. I hope you've enjoyed it this evening. I appreciate you. Appreciate the mods again. I thought this was interesting. This is the top leadership of the Green Party in Bavaria. They're already the second largest party in Germany and are on an upwards trend. It says Merkel could soon be replaced, but it won't be by a party leader from AfD. But that's an interesting bunch. It looks like they're all kind of in transition, doesn't it? And it's just, I don't know. A lot of people that are just confused. There's a delusion happening all around the world in a lot of different ways. Bad spirits abound. The delusion is intense. It's intense. The delusion. And this world, it promotes all of this. It promotes this kind of confusion. It's promoting this kind of stuff. It's everywhere. It's all around the world. Thought this was interesting. I've known people like this. Have you ever known people that were all smiles all the time? Just the happiest guy or gal you ever knew in your entire life, And then you come to find out that it was all just a mask. It's been I guess almost a couple of years since I started my website. And part of my motivation I had to do for that was when the YouTube really kicked in the adpocalypse and all that and started really heavily censoring people. I was like, I need to have somewhere else to throw stuff up from time to time. You know what I mean? So I created my website, Who is KJ Osborne. As I said, if you haven't been there, I'll leave a link below. And it's a place I can put up my band videos. I create a lot of just kind of projects, but I think they're interesting and still exposing things just in different ways. I'll put them up on the website, and I plan on doing a lot more work there. I've been spending a lot of time on my YouTube videos here lately and shows, but I plan on spending some more time there on the site. I have put some stuff up there over the last few days, so check it out sometime. But how people who appear the happiest can be the most dangerously depressed. Experts warn smiling depression should be recognized as a specific condition. So anyway, around that apocalypse time, I wound up having to go do some part-time work. Some of you who've been with me for years, like you probably remember that time. That's when I started my website, was putting a lot of work up there as well. Still doing my stuff on YouTube, but I had to rebuild. The apocalypse hurt all of us. It really did. So in that time, for a short period of time, I went and got a job at a vape shop. We sold vape pens, full setups, like full units, Smoke, I think SMOK was one of the companies. Aliens, another real popular company they used to have. So we'd sell all that stuff. We'd sell the juices and, just a vape shop, and I thought it was a pretty good gig. It got weird near the end and I had to bounce, but that's another story altogether. The lady that owned the place had cameras everywhere and she'd sit at home in her robe. I knew that because she told me. She'd sit at home in her robe and watch us on the cameras at her house. And then sometimes text us and tell us to do things. It was weird. And complain if we sat around too long or whatever. It was just, it was very strange. Anyway, I started right alongside this other guy. His name is Alex. And he was, like maybe 10 years younger than me. He's like a lot younger than me. But he was a father. He had a couple kids. He wasn't with the baby's mother. And he lived with his family. And I'm pretty sure he had the kids. I can't remember, but he did live with his family. He had a big family. He was an American Indian. So we're in the Midwest. We're in Oklahoma. I'm Cherokee myself, a quarter, but this guy way looks more like it than I did or do. But a really nice guy, man. He's just one of those dudes. Like when I first got the job and I came in my first day and I met him, I just knew I'm a feeler, and I get around people. It's good. I can really get a sense for somebody real fast too. And I was like, this is a good human being. This is a good dude. And then I started finding out more about him and good family guy, loved his mom and dad, brothers, sisters, had a big family, had his children, one of those people who never says a bad thing about anybody. I really love that quality in people. A good dude, and we worked together. I was there for months at that place, but we lasted together about a month because one day I came in and he didn't show up for work. And all day long, we're calling family. We're trying to find out where he is and what happened. And sure enough, he wound up, about 3 a.m. that morning before coming into work. They'd had a little bonfire out there at his house. They lived out in the country. They were all drinking. And at one point, he just went into his bedroom, took his pistol out, and blew his brains out. That hit us all like just from out of nowhere, man. I mean, again, I was just getting to know this guy, and he'd even invited me over. Like, man, you're cool. You should come out here to the house, and we have these bonfires. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'll bring a couple of my friends. Maybe we'll all hang out. And, so we were kind of making plans. It's kind of nice. I was making a new friend, and then bam, that just, man, it changed the vibe, changed everything. Obviously around the store, it just got really, really weird around there for a while. But the point is, Alex was one of those guys. Always permagrin, man. Always smiling. Super nice guy. Super positive. I still have no idea. I didn't know him that well, so I still have no idea why he did it. Even left his children behind. So, how people who appear the happiest could be the most dangerously depressed. Experts warn smiling depression should be recognized as a specific condition. However, on the other hand, I have known people who are genuinely always upbeat and happy, and there's no hidden darkness, demons lurking. I mean, they're really good, happy people and at peace. So that means it exists, right? It's out there. Anyway, figured I'd share. Okay. Triplets all become autistic within hours of vaccination. See shocking video that has the vaccine industry doubling down on lies and disinfo. This is from December 2018, but I wanted to put it back out there again. I was looking at it this past week for something else, a video thing I'm kind of working on. And I thought it was important. So it's from December 23rd, 2018. A vaxxed video that has been banned almost everywhere is going viral on brighdon.com, the YouTube alternative video community. As video shows below, healthy triplets all became autistic within hours of vaccination, once again demonstrating that vaccines cause autism. The parents, the McDowell family in Detroit, Michigan, have spoken out publicly against the horrific medical violence being committed against children every day across America through toxic vaccines. The names of the 3 children pictured above are Richie, Robbie, and Claire. All 3 children were vaccinated on the same day and within hours. They all became severely autistic. In their own words, on June 25th, 2007, we brought them in for the vaccine shot. We went in at 10 a.m. All three. My daughter still has the mark on her leg from the shot. We did the boys as well. By noon, Claire shut completely off. It was as if she was blind and deaf and complete failure to thrive. From super, super happy smiley girl to she had full blown eye contact and she just shut down. All she did was stare at the ceiling. At 2 o'clock, we watched Richie shut off. All of his mama, dada, and the furniture walking and everything just shut off. All the giggles, all the smiles, again, failure to thrive. They lost all their reflexes. They stopped blinking, yawning, coughing, sneezing. They lost their startle reflex. That was 2. The worst was when we saw the final one shut down, we lost Robbie. He looked like he was hit by a bus. He had a stunned look on his face. He acted deaf. He lost his happiness. They were no longer engaged in anything or anyone. They lost their smiles. They never held hands again, never looked at each other again. Vaccine injury is real. We were told it was genetic. Then we were told there was no way 3 children were shut off on the same day. It was statistically impossible. We were told we could not sue anyone. No vaccine manufacturers could be sued. We found out later there was a vaccine injury court. They then told us we were too late. We only had 3 years to apply. There you go. Vaxxed. VAXXED.com. And this is from Mike Adams at naturalnews.com. Bum, bum, bum. Here's another one of those threads we've been following for quite a while here on the channel. Is DNA, right? The dangers of DNA, especially the dangers of giving your DNA up.
If you gave up
like
your DNA to learn more about history and long life.
Like paying somebody, and this is exactly what RT is saying. If you paid somebody to find out your DNA, basically you got doped. Because look at this, for real. FBI plotting to keep DNA of entire population on file to create nation of suspects. Ugh. President Donald Trump has signed the Rapid DNA Act into law, which means the police can routinely take DNA samples from people who are arrested but not yet convicted of a crime. Thanks, President Trump. Womp, womp, womp. The law, which was signed in 2017 and comes into effect this year, will require several states to connect rapid DNA machines to CODIS, the national DNA database controlled by the FBI. What could go wrong? This is going to be great. These machines, which are portable and about the same size as a desktop printer, are expected to become as routine a process as taking fingerprints. This is how much they want our DNA. Yet people have been willingly paying to give them their DNA. It's okay, you didn't know. Didn't know. Speaking to Daily Star Online, he said the fact of the matter is these machines are not foolproof, but we could look at a situation in which someone could be arrested, have their mouth swabbed, and then be charged within hours after generating a DNA profile. We're looking at the erosion of the concept of innocent before proven guilty before it will allow police to go on fishing expeditions. When you sit on a park bench, you shed DNA. That is now up for grabs by police who could swab it and run it through a DNA database. If they find a match or if misconduct occurred anywhere in the vicinity where your DNA was found, you might find yourself charged with a crime you never committed merely because you happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. What could go wrong? Even people who aren't charged with major crimes could have their DNA put on file. People who are just seen as suspicious could have their genetic makeup stored in a criminal database. John added that until recently, the government was required to adhere to certain restrictions on how, when, and where it could access someone's DNA. But now it's been changed with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling and heralds in a loss of privacy. John also says hospitals are taking and storing newborn babies' DNA often without the parents' consent. What's more is the people are voluntarily giving over their DNA to sites such as Ancestry, which are mined for information by the authorities. All 50 U.S. states control their DNA databases, but increasingly much of the data is linked to the FBI database. John claims people shouldn't just blindly trust the government, duh, or state, duh, and people should question more, even though people seem uninterested in the developments. He added, don't forget the FBI had a file to take down Martin Luther King because he stood against the state on segregation. He also kept a file on John Lennon because he was against the war in Vietnam. So the government are not saints, and the FBI certainly isn't. People need to stand up and take notice before it's too late because we are heading towards an Orwellian totalitarian state. Right? This was a pretty interesting one, and I'm very, very curious to see how this one all plays out here. Older story too, but as I was looking up some of these other stories related to this subject, U.S. Christian who refuses to pay taxes until abortion is defunded his first big win in court. Have you guys even heard about this or heard about this guy? Anyway, I just want to kind of throw this one out there. This is just something extra I was looking at for just my own research. So, all right, just kind of passing through. All right. Put that to the side. Have you guys seen this one yet? This is from Trump's actual Twitter. I want 5G and even 6G technology in the United States as soon as possible. It is far more powerful, faster, and smarter than the current standard. American companies must step up their efforts or get left behind. There is no reason that we should be lagging behind on. So someone needs to talk to him and tell him, and that's going to be the argument. Some people are going to say he already knows the dangers of 5G. Some are going to say he's just ignorant of the fact and he genuinely doesn't know like what's going on with that. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. Just putting that out there. And this is just, it looks like this is our last story, but not even really worth a read or anything. Just Chicago police commissioner calls out media stars and politicians for pushing the Smollett hoax. You know the story about Jesse Smollett, the actor from Empire, and he wound up lying about a couple white guys beating him up, putting a noose around his neck and saying it's MAGA country and harassing him for being black and also for being homosexual. And none of it happened. Anyway, I just thought this whole situation was interesting to watch. How quickly so many, as this commissioner is saying, how quickly the media, the stars, and the politicians all jumped right on board, man, you know, with this thing in the very beginning and pushing it and making it a thing against conservatives and Christians and Trumps and all this other stuff, right? And now, boom, turns out this guy set it all up. So there you go. And that concludes, it looks like our stories for the week. We did a good 2 hours and 40 minutes. Doesn't even feel like it to me, at least. I don't know about you. Hope you guys are still here. It looks like you're still here. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. I'm back over here in the chat now. Guys, hey, as always, man, thanks so much, you know, for being here. Thanks for watching. From all around the world. We got people from all around the world that watch. So thank you all so very much. As always, to the mods, ladies, thanks so much. You did a great job tonight. And yeah, guys, I got more videos as always on the way. There's even a couple news stories I had to leave out this week because I'm putting them into a video. So I've got a couple new videos coming up. Got some more videos I'm going to be putting up over on the website. I just have to figure out what I want to put on my YouTube and what goes on the website. And also, I'm right on the verge of launching a new show. I think we're going to do it a week from this coming Sunday. I'll let you know more about it the closer we get because it's still developing. I'm still kind of like, you know, I got to shake the marbles up a little bit in the head and just kind of shake them up. And I get these ideas and I just got to, you know, fully piece it together. But so far, the people I was speaking with about it, they're all on board for this. And I think it should be very interesting. It'll be something new. We'll see how it plays out, but I'll let you know more about that later. Anyway, man, hey, for real. Oh, and also, sorry I had to do it on a Thursday this week. I was feeling a little under the weather the last couple of days. I'm doing better now, so thanks. It'll probably be back on Tuesday again next week. But until then, man, for real, you know, thank you also to the Patreons. Guys, thanks so much. PayPal friends, thanks, guys, so much. I really appreciate all of you. If you'd like to donate to the work, if you appreciate the videos and the shows and everything else, I'll leave links below for my Patreon. And that's it, man. You know, much love to you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. And just thanks again so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Take care.